but to see an opportunity where somebody can get more out of a moment, to advocate for that for them. Get up and say, give them a little more now. If you are ever in that position of privilege, I encourage you to follow that example and advocate for others. So I'm going to give you $1,000, and then if you want to give them $1,000, then you can give them $1,000. But you have observed that principle as well. Is there anybody else who has a question? Can we get the microphone?
Hi, team. So I'm not piggybacking, but I'm also, I love the bits of knowledge. So what I want to ask for everyone, because I know you're going to deliver it well.
But don't have 100,000 though.
Oh, no. Well, this one's free.
Oh,
right?
okay.
This one's it's just information. So when you went to Turkey and Africa, how valuable were the connections that you made there with
show yourself in spaces. And then, basic standard rule, find one person who, from what they've said or from what you've observed, looks like they can benefit from what you do, and ask them if they would be interested. Find a microphone, and every opportunity you get, you say, this is who I am, this is what I do, this is how I help others. So they can hear that you are there and make a decision to come and ask for more information. But that's not something I did, and it's not something I learned to do until well into my 20s. So I'd be happy if you all learned that before me. Any other question or comment? Yes.
How did you feel when you were writing your first novel?
Oh, how did I feel when I was writing my first book? It was, I know there was anxiety because I'd never done it before. So I was a little concerned about whether or not I would write something that people were interested in reading. But I decided to start anyway, because if I don't write the book, I don't know that I don't know how to write a book, and I don't know how to improve on writing a book. So I was very open to the first book being flawed. And the openness to being flawed is actually what helped me to refine the topic that I had, because initially the book was not about fear. But as I wrote and I realized how I was feeling about writing, I also had to admit the fears that I had to deal with, and then find a strategy or share a strategy that I was using at the time to help kill fear. So the book ended up being a different book because of the fear and the anxiety that I felt. But the decision to start allowed me to actually publish a book.
Okay, so my question is, you're a beautiful woman, eh? And not only just on the outside, your confidence, your aura, it gives everything it's supposed to give. But discarding that, how did you deal with, the negative people in your life that were just pushing, found every single opportunity, wasted their energy and their time to just leave little seeds of doubt and little negative comments? How did you just combat that? How did you push back against what they were pushing back on you? How did you fight against that atmosphere? Because I understand you weren't from I call them name brand. You weren't from a name brand high school. You're from the University of the West Indies, which in Jamaica is a known school, but on a global scale is not. And so you're just a little somebody for a lot of people in this world, and yet you still came out and you still, bam, and you still did it. How?
Very good question. And it's a very good question because that's something I still deal with today. There's some people who think that, oh, what a little girl I go. Like, oh, where she come from? I don't know her. Oh, she just there so I do things. Eh? Or she never asked me first if she could come do the things. Where she come from? Who she know? She know nobody? She can't stay. There are people like that who defend privilege. Vociferously, I'll say that. But I've dealt with this, what's happening now, because I'm in the public space, the way I've dealt with criticism since I was a child. Now I have little processes at work, but the general thought for me, I'll use a seed example that you gave. I know what belongs in my soil. So if for example, I'm raising a field of oranges, if an orange seed may I plant, I must say you come with some okra seed. Me no want it. And I'm okay with that. This, I don't want it. I hear what you're saying. I say you put the seed down there, and I'm going to be very polite, and maybe I'll wait until you're gone to let the seed know. It doesn't belong in my brain mentally. So I heard you, but you come right out the other ears. And it's called having a filter. Knowing what I'm supposed to keep and knowing what I need to give you back. So when I hear people make certain comments, my general principle is, what am I supposed to use this to do? How am I supposed to plan this? When they told this to me, what did they want me to do with that? And when it comes down to seeds of doubt, what people wanted to do is stop. Them want you stop, enough of yourself. Them want you just settle down yourself and just be regular. Regularize yourself, please, because you make them uncomfortable. You're not doing something wrong. You're not doing something rude. You're just expressing what is the talent, the skill, and the passion that you have. Understand that that makes some people uncomfortable. And they want to say something that will make you as uncomfortable as they are so you can stop. So that's a principle for me. When you tell me this, what did you want me to do? Did you want me to learn and take better action? Did you want me to consider it before I made an investment? You want me to learn and grow, or you wanted me to stop? And I don't allow people who don't mean me well to stop me from doing what my purpose is in life. In terms of practices now, these actually are memorable, so I share them hoping that you will remember them and then actually use them. 3 things that I have done repeatedly. 1 is to remember who has power. There's a light switch in here, right? Where's the light switch for the room? Can you flip the switch? Let me see what happens, please. I co-opted the cameraman into the exercise. Flip this one and let me see what happens if this is the main switch. No, where's the main switch? Ah, you see that? Now when people... I don't know what I did. No, man, that's fine. You see, when people think at them, have them on for your light switch, I saw them want come here and fast and flip. Your light is on, your energy is up, your vibration is up, you're ready to move, you're ready to work. And they think they can say something that shuts the lights off. Ultimately, only Crystal has access to my light switch. People will say things believing that they have the power to flip your light switch. But you see, if the light shut off, know that is you go turn it off. Because somebody's word doesn't have the power to flip the light switch in my consciousness. I turn it on and I turn it off. So when I used to experience those challenges of criticism, and when people are criticize me, it make all news, right? I'm blog and all kind of something. So when I was experiencing that, I had to remind myself, and I used to actually walk around my house and just flip the light switch. Flip the light switch, and I could remember very vividly that them can't turn off the light in my house. Like what you have to say about me does not change materially what I live and experience day to day. You have no power to cut me off from energy. JPS can do that, but you can't do that. My power is my own. And I'm not allowing anybody to flip my light switch and have fun with me. Put me in a darkness, put me in a light, put me in a darkness, put me in a light. My light switch. You can't turn it off with your words. The other thing I've told myself is that I will not be everybody's cup of tea. So when I'm in the supermarket on the shelf, like any other tea bag, sitting down minding my fever grass business, when somebody comes in and them see the fever grass and kiss them teeth and roll them, I say, I can't stand fever grass, it just tastes bad so. A Cersei me like, a Milo me like, a coffee me like, I can't stand fever grass. First of all, nobody does that in the supermarket. Like you have to be a little crazy to cuss off the flavor that you don't like before you pick up the one that you do like. So I want you to understand there's a little bit of mental instability in people who know that they don't like you, but walk up on you in the supermarket shelf and cuss you off a little bit before they pick up what they do like. Because a rational mind just chooses what works and keeps it moving. Why you want the fever grass to feel bad about being fever grass? You're working on a little insecurities in yourself and you're trying to project that on Miss Fever Grass. So that's the second thing I observe is that I won't be everybody's cup of tea. Some people are going to come in the supermarket and they're going to take up the Cersei. They're going to take up the dragon fruit. They're going to take up the peppermint. They're going to take up the little red rose black tea. When I see them picking other brands of tea, I'm not going to sit down as Fever Grass and say, Jesus, 6 people come in here and then pick up Cersei and then they pick me up, you know. I wonder what I can do to stop the fever grass and just be Cersei so them can pick me. I can't do that. Because what I would be doing now is changing my flavor to suit every customer will come in. And then you know what happens? The person will love fever grass when them come in at the supermarket now, them can't find me. Can't find me. Because me's a little Cersei pretender, right? So them look on the thing and they say, I'm sure a fever grass that, you know, but it have a Cersei-ish look. I never see fever grass taste so yet. And so they don't pick me up. And by pick me up, I mean they don't work with me. They don't engage me. They don't build a relationship with me. We can't do things together with the people who appreciate my value because I was busy trying to morph myself into Cersei so somebody could have picked me. Because when they came in the supermarket, they were cussing off fever grass. And fever grass started to wonder, well, maybe I should just become Cersei so people can pick me. I'm okay with not being picked. I'm okay with people all cussing me off before them don't pick me. Because I'm confident there is somebody for me. There is a team for me. There's a group for me. There are customers for me. There are relationships for me. So I am not operating on a mindset of scarcity, where if I don't get all the yeses and all the likes and all the support, I start to doubt my quality. I know who I am. I will stand up on the shelf. All if me are the last box of tea we pick. If I even hurricane, I'm going to make you pick me. My God is an awesome God. He will leave you no choice but to come and pick up the fever grass. And I am confident about that. One more question. I have one more question.
All right.
And by them pick me the price raise. Yeah, you left me till me one up on the shelf yesterday. Prize is not today's prize. Sorry, you can go ahead.
Good afternoon. Pardon me for being culturally uneducated, but I believe his name was Francois Sanchez. Yes, he picked you the fever grass off the shelf, right? Yes. Please mention one skill that you haven't mentioned so far that you have gained from being on RGR.
Oh. Production, and that's because production is project management. So as a creative, my natural role is to create the thing. Asking me to manage a thing is hard. I don't like it. I don't like having to figure out all the steps before, the steps during, and the steps after. I would like to just dance when the music is on, and when the music stops, I just sit. That's my brain. I want to get it done. I want to move. I want to take action. But when I was producing, because when I was hosting the show, I was also taking on a role as co-producer. Had a producer for a while to show me what to do, but eventually I had to produce the show. So that means doing a lot more forward planning and time management. I learned the hard way how to manage my time, booking guests early to honor their time, making sure when I lock in a topic, I do the work so I can deliver on that topic, because if that's the topic I told the guests, I can't change it when my vibe feels different a couple hours before the show. So preparing and producing a radio show, and also being open to direct feedback on me. That's something that I didn't have outside of debating and radio production. I didn't have many instances where persons would pull me aside and say, Crystal, in terms of what you did here, bam, 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 bam. This is what happened. This is what you need to change. This is how you can make it better. When I was on radio, though, that's feedback that came every single week. So as soon as the microphone got shut off and I said, good night, Jamaica, see you again next week, I can anticipate an email from Francois that breaks down what I didn't get correct, where I have room for growth, what he really loved and what I should keep doing. And so I could apply that feedback almost immediately. In some instances, the feedback I get these days, a little delayed. So I can't even remember exactly what I did, what I was thinking, and how to move past it. Try my best to apply it. But I think in radio, getting that immediate, detailed feedback on where you are and what to do to move forward helped to also build courage for me, but instill that level of, I wouldn't call it humility, because sometimes we misinterpret the word, but it kept me in a growth mindset. I always knew that no matter how good a show was, there is room for me to grow. And nothing wrong with hearing say, there's room for you to grow here. So that is something I really appreciated. That's it. All right. Thank you guys so much for being interactive and attentive and solid deal makers. Remember, we have a few deals that we're honoring with ourselves moving ahead. Take care, and I wish you all the very best in your endeavors, especially in entrepreneurship. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen of UCC, can we put our hands together once more for Miss Crystal Tomlinson? Boy, Chrissy, you teach me some things, even me. Me learn some things. Wanna learn? Wanna learn? And something I want to add to what she said. You see, not because you hear Crystal said her passion is speaking, means that your passion is speaking also. Everybody has a different passion for something, to make something, to create something, to dance something, to jump up and down something, to act something. And when people come and say, because them don't see that passion for you, if inside of you that is where your passion is, no make nobody tell you, say, I know your passion. Amen? So if you feel like you can speak spokey, and your family feel like the speaky spokey is not for you, speaky spokey, go on. If you feel like twisting hair is your passion, and your family thinks that twisting hair is not a passion, go on, go twist your ear, because that you're born with. And whatever you're born with, and it's inside of you, nobody can take it from you. Amen? Carrie, can you join me up here for a giveaway, please?
Of course, you know we always have lots and lots of giveaways here. Mrs. Claus in the building. So, Crystal, thank you so much for that. It was really, really awesome. And of course, you know, I'm going to ask questions about what she said. So, are you guys ready? Alrighty, so from this side of the building, are you able to tell? No, I won't. Are you able to tell me the 4 schools that Crystal attended? Well, a 4 school, you know? Crystal, you were a troubled child. I would never see that. But yeah. No, it's not. It don't work like that. Come. What are the 4 schools she attended? You have to come to the microphone at the front. It doesn't matter the order, but you have to come to. I like how you took notes. Yeah, let's go.
I had to win the game. So So she went to Merle Grove High. For
So she has Merle Grove, yeah.
Yes, she went to Merle Grove High for 2 years, Alpha for 1 year, Manchester High for fourth and fifth form, and the Carteret College.
But look at you look like she take more notes than me. That's right, and that's very correct in the order and indeed the years. All right. So another thing, somebody else. So Crystal mentioned a number of things. She said a number of things that I liked. Like she talked about confidence. She talked about yes. Yeah, ma'am, I did love that. So I want to know, she said two things. One of them about why people lose in life. I see your hand. Come on. Why you losing life? Love, come and tell me.
Because they choose not to learn.
Can you say it a bit loud? I didn't hear.
They choose not to learn.
That is so. You're right, but you choose not to learn, so you lose. But okay, no problem. You got it right. You got it right. All right. All right. So, how many clips we gone? 2. All right. So this is a simple one. Can I get it from a gentleman in the room this time, please? So can you tell me the 3 countries that she went to? 3 of the countries. If you know one thing I like about these university students, wanna take notes. I love that. I wish I did that when I was in college too. Okay. So there are 3 countries, 3 places that she visited for the debates. No cheating. Kayla, no. No, no, no. Malik with the K, are you ready? You got this. Oh, I'm kind of with a Q, I'm sorry.
Turkey.
No, we're not doing that. Let's go, you alone.
Turkey in Europe, Botswana in Africa, and Philippines.
You got it. You got it. You got it. I don't know. You know, I want to give somebody from what, Bridgeport. I need somebody from Bridgeport to come in. Somebody from Bridgeport. But you don't even know the question and you choose him. You know what? Come up. Come up. So, I'm going to make this one a bit easy for you. What is it that Crystal said that must be bigger than your fears? What should be bigger than your fears? And I'll give you 3 chances.
Your voice,
No, but it starts with C.
confidence.
You got it. Ding, ding, ding. All right, guys. So we're going to move on to the next person. And thank you so much. I have a lot more giveaways. So you'll see me around.
Thank you so much, Kerry. Me know someone I love Kerry because Kerry I come with free gift, don't it? And I like the fact that you all are listening and you're making notes and you're answering all. I'm proud of you. No. Give yourselves a round of applause for me. So we're gonna ask Crystal for one more thing. Crystal, we need a photo up with you. We need a photo up with you. So I'm going to ask everybody to just come close. Huddle, come close to Crystal for me so we can get a nice picture with Uno. You can stay right there, Chrissy. No, hello, all of you. We're asking you to come close to Crystal so we can get a photo up with you, please. Uno can go tell everybody now so Uno meet Crystal Tomlinson, the Crystal Tomlinson. Can you come up here, please? We want you to do it. We want you to do it. Remember to smile. Everybody look at me. Everybody can come in the center. Yeah. I think you're probably a little too far out. Sorry, take a step from me. Confidence. Okay, so we are going to be moving right along in the program. We just heard from our keynote speaker on the topic of passion. We're going to be moving forward for our other panelists, and this time we're speaking on the topic of purpose. Now, if we should remember, the theme for today is youth entrepreneurship, passion, purpose, and promise. Sorry, passion, purpose, and profit. You know why I said promise? Because in my head, I have the song playing from morning. I am a promise. I am a possible. Can we sing that song? After two, one, two. I am a promise. I am a possibility. I am a promise. Promise with the. I am a great big bundle of. Oh, yes. And I'm learning to hear God's voice, and I'm trying to make the right choice. I am anything God wants me to be. So I'm going to be welcoming my panelists. We have Ryan Rage Riley, we have Gavin Dennis, and we have Olivia Lindsay. Can they just join me up here on the podium, please? All three persons. Ryan Riley, Gavin Dennis, Olivia Lindsay. As we get settled. So as we wait for the room to get settled, I'm hoping that the persons that have joined us online is still with us and is still very much enjoying all the information that we have planned for you today. And Kerry, the next time we're having a giveaway, we're going to be giving the persons online an opportunity to win something. So let's go with our panelists. We have Ryan Rage Riley. Ryan has created paths for himself through his multifaceted experiences and skills that shifted his way of thinking and the mindset of people around him. He's a specialist with over 15 years of experience as a social media marketer, event coordinator, and a content creator. During that time, he has executed multiple projects with world-class brands and worked with superstars such as Lacadco, which is a dance company, come and know them, Diana King, Sean Paul, Jamaica Public Service, JPS, Digicel, Grace Foods, Jamaica International, and Hyundai, to name a few. As an entrepreneur, Ryan has become an advocate for using digital media and online tools to promote personal and professional success. Ryan, persons may not know you, can just raise your hand for me, please. Ladies and gentlemen, Ryan Rage Riley. Just wave your hand, Liquor, so we know who Ryan is. Thank you. Then we have Gavin Dennis, who is G5 Cybersecurity. Gavin is a Jamaican and an internationally experienced cybersecurity professional. He has supported businesses with cybersecurity in North America, including the Caribbean, Europe, Asia, and Africa in various capacities. He holds several cybersecurity certifications and leads the G5 Cybersecurity in the USA. Can you just raise your hand, Gavin? And the only lady in this panel, Miss Olivia Lindsay, 876 on the go. Olivia is a highly motivated, innovative, and pioneering entrepreneur. She's the founder and CEO of 876 on the go, a transportation and logistics solution company. She combines over 15 years of experience in marketing, business development, strategic planning, and leadership. She holds a BSc in Management Studies, emphasis in marketing from the Northern Caribbean University, NCU, an MSc in Strategic Planning from the Edinburgh Business School at the Heriot-Watt University, and a PhD candidate at UNICAF University. Ms. Lindsay believes that adding value to business enterprises requires a heart full of compassion, an eye for execution, and values big on integrity. Her mantra is, when the process is pain and resilience, the result is wisdom and victory. Which is why one of Olivia's great passion is mentoring the next generation of business innovators and bringing cutting-edge solutions to national problems. Ladies and gentlemen, once more, can we put our hands together for our panelists? Ryan Rage Riley, Gavin Dennis, and Olivia Lindsay.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Oh, it's afternoon now. Yes, good afternoon. Thanks for being here, guys. I saw you guys were very excited about the last presentation with Crystal, and I hope you're equally as excited for this one. So what we're going to be talking about today with my lovely panelists here is about purpose. And purpose when we talk about purpose, we're talking about different things, but what we're really wanting to find out from you guys today is, who are you supposed to be? What are you meant to be? What are you meant to be doing? So earlier, Crystal talked about speaking, public speaking, and that being a passion for her, and realizing that this was something that she was very good at, and putting herself in a position to be able to do that, and now turning that into a career. And I think this is what our panelists here have actually done. Your mics. Right. So this is what our panelists have actually done. So I actually know a few about some of our panelists. So we're going to start with Olivia. Olivia, you are the CEO of 876 on the go. And 876, guys, is what would you describe it as?
A transportation and logistics solutions company.
Is the mic on?
Are you hearing me now?
Yes.
That was me. Sorry. Okay, so 876 On The Go is a transportation and logistics solutions company.
Right. So transportation and logistics, and you were one of the first.
We're actually the first to
Go
launch.
tell him.
Yeah. So we're 5 years old. We just celebrated our 5th-year anniversary in April, but we officially launched 4 years ago as the first rideshare approved company here in Jamaica. So that means it's a platform similar to that of Uber. Don't want to give too much credit to Uber, but
Right.
just more, just so you guys can understand. And we have an app that's called 876 On The Go. It's downloadable for free in the Google Play Store and the App Store, where persons can book a cab for now or in advance. It allows the passengers to live chat the car, get the driver's photo, telephone number, and the license plate. So we're big on security and safety.
Right. So what she just said is that she was one of the first to do it. Before Uber and all the excitement came here, she was one of the first to do it. So the question for you, Olivia, is this what you wanted to do? Did you envision yourself when you were younger as the CEO of one of the first companies in Jamaica? Because for you to have done that 5 years ago was, for me, forward thinking, right?
Okay.
Scanning the industry and the environment to see where there's a demand and filling that demand, right? So that takes some kind of vision or being some kind of visionary. So the question is, was this something that you wanted to do when you were younger? Maybe not necessarily owning a transportation company, but being a CEO or an entrepreneur.
That's a good question. So I've always known that I wanted to own my company.
Mhm.
Initially, before college, you're at an age when you leave high school and you're undecided about which direction. I thought about marketing, but I always know that I wanted to be the head of a company. And for me, I love helping people. And at the time when 876 was born, I had an experience where I had an accident and somebody came. I went to report it at the police station. Somebody came in it was a female. She just jumped out of a car, all bruised with blood. And I was I've passed research stage, but implementation. And I said, hey, this was just like a message or a signal to say this is what I wanted to do. And I've always loved helping people. Hence, I really thought about a dynamic solution by using technology to provide a
Right.
safe and secure transportation service for persons.
Right. So you've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. You said you always wanted, because we all want to work for ourselves, right? Nobody wants to be beholden to a company where you have to get up and get to work by a certain time. Yeah, you want to create your own wealth. You want to do that on your own time, creating your own schedule. So that's something you wanted to do. And then that came together when you realize again that there was a gap that you could fill. There's a demand that you could fill. And so you went ahead and you did that. And now I want you to brag a little bit about the accomplishments of 876 On The Go, because I know you guys have been doing a lot of things over there.
Yes, we have been. It's far from a walk in the park, but with continuous innovation and improving in what we do, we decided to make changes with providing quality service to our commuters and our clients. So we've increased our customer base, our fleet. We've added services such as delivery services and contractual pickups in the schools. And we've also expanded. We have another location in Ocho Rios, and we're also looking at regional expansion.
All right. So from I want to help people, scanning the market to see what can I do to help people in a unique and different way, filling a demand, and now expanding. So you started with, how many cars you started with?
Perhaps 12.
12 cars. I know how much you have in your fleet.
We're growing. We have a lot of cars, some that are not yet activated, meaning we're sourcing drivers. But we have a large enough fleet that would cover our bases in Kingston.
In Kingston, and now you're moving to Ocho Rios.
And we're already in Ocho Rios. That's
You're
our
already-
second location that is actively running.
All right, but she don't want to say it, but what I do know,
Specifically.
Olivia, is that Olivia has been able to secure some serious money contracts with some serious places like, Olivia,
Well,
some embassies.
Right. So the British Embassy, they've really spoken highly of us where we provide service for them. It took us some time because sometimes they're big on security in terms of vetting, and our app, it had to be approved all the way in London. So we went through the process of, giving information, receiving information, just ensuring that your staff can utilize our service and that they will be safe.
Awesome. So now she has, what did I say? Won the confidence of the
Absolutely.
American embassy.
Yes.
And
the
the British embassy, I
British,
should
right.
say. And if you understand how diplomacy and these things work, for you to be able to get a contract with one of these agencies, you have to go through some serious processes, some security processes and checks and stuff. And if you should Google 876 on the go or Olivia, you'll see that they've come out publicly and said that, listen, anytime we have dignitaries coming here, diplomats coming here, it's always 876 on the go. So you see that vision coming to life, coming to fruition, right? So moving to Ryan, let's talk about what you do for a while and how you got there. How did you become a digital marketing and content specialist and photographer and videographer and dancer and pop lock and drop it kind of guy and performing artist? Because you do a lot of things.
Testing. All right. Well, I actually wanted to do law in high school, law or psychology, and I didn't want to pressure my mother with that task to send me to UE and all of that. I took a break from going to school 1 year, worked at Ray Neville, worked at the Bureau of Standards and get some experience. And then I got exposed to a dance company. And that's where I met one of our panelists for later. She's here. When I went to that dance company, I got the opportunity to do a performance for Digicel. Learned the routine on a song, and then I was at rehearsal and I saw an interview for the promotions and sponsorship manager. And I was like, promotions and sponsorship, marketing, that's what I'm doing, dancing. This seems very fun and interesting. And I did my research, called some people, started my degree in marketing and entrepreneurship. And I realized that business was saturated everywhere. The UTEX, the UE, the UCC, PCC, everywhere. So I said, what can I do to stand out from everybody else? Learn what's happening in marketing technology, digital marketing. And I started to set up social media platforms from high 5 days for numerous events, working with brands such as ATI, which is now known as Dream Weekend. And I didn't know how to create the content that I wanted for different marketing plans and campaigns. So I said, let me buy a camera. At that point in time, I was working in underwriting at Sagicor. Bought a camera and took a risk. Said, oh, I'm just going to do videography. And that's it. I kind of love that. Now I'm doing photography. I've done portraiture work for many companies, many persons, covered many events. I'm providing photography today. So it's just my love for the creativity, media, technology, the nerd that I am for technology. That's why I'm just multifaceted and I see how everything works together.
So what I heard Ryan say was that he has many skills, many talents, and he has found a way to utilize the different skills and talents he has as a creative to earn money. That's what I heard you say.
Yes.
And I heard you say that you went through several cycles of being a creative, because as a creative, you may start one place and end up somewhere. So you went through several cycles, exploring the different sides of your creativity, and now you're here. But what I also heard him say is that he needed to figure out digital marketing. He needed to figure out how to market himself and position himself to create opportunities and attract opportunities. That's what I heard you say. So what did you want to do when you were growing up, and how far or how close are you to doing that thing that you've always wanted to do?
Well, when I was in prep school, I actually wanted to be a scientist and inventor. to create solutions for persons.
And then you move to law.
And then I moved to law to resolve problems for persons.
Right.
So I can say using or doing marketing and doing content creation, I'm still creating solutions for purpose and value for people, which then again, now it has evolved to me helping people along my journey, teaching people how they can be entrepreneurs, developing skills, developing different streams of income.
Right.
So that is where I am in terms of my purpose and using these skills to help persons.
Okay. So I'm hearing again, so from both Olivia and Ryan, I want to help people. That's where this thing come. That's what my purpose is. My purpose is to help people. And you find a lot in business, especially when you are thinking about in 2022, what kind of business can I start? How can I make money as a creative in 2022? Well, one of the first things you're going to have to figure out is what problem am I going to be solving, and who am I going to be solving that problem for, right? That's as a business person, as an entrepreneur, that's one of the very first things you have to think about. So what skills do I have, whether it's a natural ability or talent that I have, and then how can that help people? Who are the people I'm trying to help, and what am I trying to help them do? So these are things you're going to have to figure out, right, Gavin? So Gavin, you are the CEO of G5 Cybersecurity, but it took you a while to get to G5 Cybersecurity. You have a particularly interesting story as to how he flew out from Jamaica to Germany, right? Living and working in Germany as a international cybersecurity expert. But that's not how you started.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. So yes, so that's right. I started out in the field of auditing and accounting. So in high school, I was studying accounting, business, essentially. So I did like principles of business, principles of accounting, that type of thing. I always loved, working with computers, but I hated the idea of what I thought IT was for the corporate world. I thought it meant fixing people's computers, right? And I hated that idea. So although I was in high school and I had the option for IT, I hated IT itself, that they taught in high school. Eventually, I went into the work world, started at 17, worked in a few audit firms, PwC, KPMG, here in Jamaica, right? And while working in accounting, I was helping people at work with different little issues. Sometimes they didn't want to call IT, they were just, I'd be helping them. It was there that I kind of realized what IT looked like, and that it wasn't about, literally repairing computers, but actually dealing with business issues or IT issues that affected the business. And I started to see what corporate IT looks like. So you could be a business analyst, you could do cybersecurity, you could do networking. So when I entered the corporate world, that's when I actually, saw what it looks like. And after about 5 years of, messing around here and there with IT, I decided to make the switch. And that switch was to cybersecurity, but it still wasn't immediate because then I didn't have any formal IT experience. So I had to now go and study IT certifications, apply to jobs. And it took about 2 years from the point of making that decision to actually landing a cybersecurity job. So I bounced between 2 different companies as part of my goal of landing an IT job, and eventually landed a cybersecurity job here. About 3 years after that, migrated to Germany, which was in 2018, where I worked with a company that supports other businesses with cybersecurity. So they would send me, all over the world to help different companies. So I was traveling a lot, to help other businesses to secure their networks and essentially not be hacked. So that's where I gained a lot of the international experience, just moving around to different companies across different countries and helping them to protect themselves.
Okay, so you started out hating the thing that you're actually doing, or hating IT.
Yeah, at least what I thought IT was.
Right.
When in high school, they were teaching me things like mail merge and and just a bunch of things that to me, I didn't want to do that as a job if that was what IT was about.
Right.
So I didn't like the idea of IT. I was learning things that I thought were really boring.
Right. And that's a good lesson for the young people in here, especially you guys in sixth form, because you are probably thinking, okay, at this point, this is what I want to do. But what I want you to understand is that the career that you're thinking about now might not be or look the same by the time you get into that field, because careers are evolving, because technology is evolving. And as technology evolves, everything else evolves with it. So when Gavin was in high school learning mail merge, right, rudimentary IT solutions, I don't want to do this. This looks boring. But by the time he got into a space where he actually understood what this thing is, it evolved. And now we're talking about cybersecurity. I'm sure you guys have been watching the news and seeing what's happening with cybersecurity and this company being hacked. Facey got hacked recently. Lots of companies are being hacked and being held, what do you call that, ransom by hackers on the internet who can steal your information, and then you have to pay them to get your information back. So people like Gavin prevents that from happening. But he had to evolve his way of thinking about what is IT, information technology, my passion for this thing, and how I can actually apply that passion and make money. Because from the fact that him live in Germany and them are fly him all over Europe to all over the place, y'all know he makes money. Him don't want to say it, but he makes coins. Yes, yes, Gavin. So
Cybersecurity is good. It's
yeah,
good.
it's a good job, right? So, question for you guys out in the audience: what do you guys want to do? I see sixth formers here. I see UCC students here. What career-wise? Just shout out. What is it that you guys want to do? Pediatric. What is that? What is pediatric psychology? Right. Right. Of children, right. To teach. So whichever direction she goes, psychology is going to be involved. So she has a love for children and she loves to teach, and she doesn't think there's enough people paying attention to what's happening in the minds of our young people. And so that's where she wants to tap into. Okay, that's awesome. Pediatric psychology. That's a new one for me. Anybody else? A linguist. No, there is where you can actually make some money. So what exactly in linguistics do you want to do? Sorry? Foreign languages. So is it that you're going to research? Are you going to be a researcher, a lecturer, a researcher? Just in case you haven't thought about it, there is such a thing as computational linguistics. I don't know if anybody in here has ever heard of computational linguistics. So think of an app like Facebook or Instagram or any other app. There's an app for everything these days, right? In terms of the language, the app that the language uses, right? So for instance, InDriver, how many here know InDriver? InDriver is not a Jamaican company. Did you guys know that? It's not even a Caribbean company. InDriver is a Russian company. But you don't know that because InDriver has a thing where when they go into a particular country, they will then change their app depending on where you can access it from to, I wouldn't say mimic, but match the language, tone, etc. of that particular country, because they want to be able to relate to you as a customer. That's computational linguistics. So the computational linguist will then study the language of that country, their tone, how they speak, etc., and then help the coders write the code for the app for that particular location, right? So that's computational linguistics, and you're looking at anywhere between 120 to 150,000 US dollars per year. So put you on some game there, right? Anybody else? Who else? Sorry, shout out. Journalism. Okay, well, that's evolving. Okay, everybody with a smartphone now is a journalist. So what kind of journalist do you want to be? Sorry, I'm not hearing what? No, it's the lady at the end.
I'm a cultural journalist.
A what, sorry?
A cultural?
A cultural journalist. What does that mean? So you're going to talk about.
Our cultures around the world.
Sorry?
And cultures around
Oh,
the
so
world.
like a Anthony Bourdain or one of those people who travel the world experiencing culture and talking about it. Well, that's fascinating. That's awesome. Is that something you've always wanted to do, or?
Yes.
That's something I always want to do. So the reason why I'm asking you guys again is because I want you to think about the career that you're wanting to get into and how you can evolve your way of thinking. Because one of the things I've heard all our panelists here say today is that, again, I wanted to help people because you were helping people in your office with IT solutions when you're supposed to do your work in accounting, right? Ryan got invited to go to something else and fasten and people them things where I hire other people. And Olivia over there was like, I just want to help people. I came upon this incident with this girl and solutions, ideas. So ideas can come from anywhere, right? Anything can happen and it sparks something in your mind. So the question is, after that initial spark, when you think, okay, well, this is interesting, it matches something that I've always wanted to do or something that I've always thought about doing, how then, guys, do we turn that spark, that genius spark, into money? Olivia, how do we turn that genius spark for you? How did you get from here's a situation that I think I could provide a solution for into I'm definitely going to start a business? What was the mental process like for you?
Okay, so this is something that I enjoyed doing. So as they always say, do what you love, and once you monetize it, it's not a job. It's pretty much a hobby.
Right.
But within that span, though, there are things that you need to materialize and things that you also need to plan for. So one big thing was having a good network and intentionally creating that into wealth. That wasn't easy, but it really made life easier because you'd have persons who have had experience or can help to make things happen. Mentors, very good to have.
Right.
I'm big on having, most of my friends are older than I am, and my mentors are persons who are full of experience and are always ready to just guide me. And with that, it made the journey a little bit easier. But then I was able to do my research, of course, because this is a business now. We need to put processes and structures in place.
Right.
Having the right team. So human resource is critical, especially in the service industry. We need people to carry out the job. And especially in the transportation sector, we depend heavily on human resource. Having a fleet, without the drivers, the cars don't really move.
Right.
So that's critical. But finding the right team, though, it takes something, especially here in Jamaica with our culture. And people looking on the taxi industry say, okay, why taxi? And it might look nasty out there, but the service we provide is something different. We're a chartered service. And with 876 on the go, we're big on quality service. So training our drivers, that's critical. And we have zero tolerance for indiscipline. The good thing about having the app, it helps us to get feedback from our clients.
Right.
And that also helps to improve our services or to fix, modify, change, implement something new. And that helps with consistently providing the quality service that we want to.
Right. So Olivia said you have to network. Another word for network is, in Jamaica we say you have to know somebody, we know somebody, we know somebody. That's, or we say links, right? But it's a different kind of network, right, Olivia? What you're doing is you're putting yourself in a space. Correct. Where there are people there who can actually help progress you as an entrepreneur, as a business. Correct. You talked about mentorship. That's part of the reason why network is important. Because then you can find mentors who have been in business longer than you can. And they may not be in the transportation business, but business is business. There are some basic foundations and structures to business, and they can help you with that as well. And you also said it is important to do your research.
Yes.
Because what I see some people do is you go on Instagram and you see the girl sending her little bangle, and her little bangle them are going with things, and the little bangle them are sell, and all of a sudden you want to sell bangle too. Right? So you're not putting in research into, okay, who is she selling the bangle to? How is she pricing the bangles? What is she shipping internationally? What's happening with these bangles? Why is it selling? And then you go invest in bangles, buy bangles for go sell bangle, and ain't nobody buying it, right? Because you have not done your own research as well. So if you have an idea, one of the first things you need to do is research. Find out, is it something that's viable in the market? And by market, I mean, would other people in Jamaica buy it? And not just other people in Jamaica, but a particular set of people. Who do you want to sell it to? So you've heard the stories about young people on university campus who sell phone cards and all sort of stuff as a way of earning money, right, as their start. So they're selling to university students, right? University students who may not be able to afford it. So you sell it at a particular price. You don't want to overprice for the market. All of those things go into research and development, they call it R&D. So before you jump off and go, yeah man, the idea sound wicked, 2 people tell me say it can't work, right? You have to do some research to see if this is something that is viable and something that's going to make you money, right, Ryan? So how did you figure out that if I learned digital marketing and if I figured out how to use the camera, because I only know the on and off button. So if I figure out how to use the camera, I can actually turn this into something lucrative.
Well, it all comes down to research. That's
back to research.
Really and truly. When I go home, 2 things, other than you eat, sleep, and do whatever. And other than anime, I love YouTube.
Right.
YouTube.
The University of YouTube.
I love reading blogs. I absorb knowledge. Anything that I don't know, I'd ask a friend, but I am using my phone. I'm doing the research. So just as how you said earlier that, all right, person selling bracelets or necklaces or whatever, does anybody else in that market do the same thing?
Right.
What competitive advantage can you create for yourself to sell more or to sell to somebody else that they're not targeting? Are you targeting corporate entities? Are you targeting sixth formers, high schoolers, college students? Research is one of my biggest things. So I saw where I could actually tap into certain markets that certain persons weren't tapping into, or the market was big enough. So people would look on me when they see me every day and say, oh, you're still dancing. Oh, you still work at Sagicor. Oh, you still work there. I said, no, I'm doing this. How am I gonna say? And I say, I'm just so busy, because when I did my research and I positioned myself, and my network is my net worth, people just call me every day. So I get a lot of referrals because I did my research, I spoke to people, I gave them advice, and then when they realized the knowledge that I had based on my research and practice, I would be getting those phone calls. Just this morning, all right, I'm prepping to come here. Ministry of Finance called me. Oh, can you do something for us later? And something next week and that. And I just did 2 things for them. And they're calling me every week.
Right.
So learn to love knowledge, learn to read, learn how to do things yourself, because you can be a better manager.
Right.
You can know things hands-on. That's
right.
one of the things I pride myself with.
Right. And there's one thing Ryan just said that I want to pinpoint. He talks about positioning. Positioning is important, because when we're talking about positioning, we're talking about putting yourself in a position where people can see you, where you become visible to the people that you need to become visible to. Right? So when I say to you, oh, you want to start a business, who is the business for? You tell me everybody. There's no such market as everybody, right? There's a particular group of people that you absolutely should, more than any other group of people, want to get the ear and eyes off, right? That's why we're on Instagram, right? That's why the minute you decide that you want to start a company, you post it up on Instagram because you want it to attract attention. So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about positioning yourself. Put yourself in a place where you're visible to the people you need to be visible to, you're relevant to those people, and getting your timing right is important, right, Gavin? Because you, as you said, you were doing the accounting thing before, and cybersecurity wasn't so sexy back then as it is now, because everybody talking about hacking and everybody hacking everybody, right? Even the US government has been hacked, right? So nobody's impervious. So it wasn't a thing that people were really thinking about so much so then that they are now. So you got into it at the right time, and now you're able to leverage the knowledge and experience and your timing to earn. So talk to us about the timing of it. Is it that, oh, well, I'm a visionary and I looked out and I saw what was coming and I positioned myself? What was it that got you into that place where now you can leverage it to make money?
All right. So first off, right, I own a business now, but I've never liked the idea of running a business, having a business, and having to think about paying people and all of that. So
That's the unsexy part.
Yeah, so I didn't like that idea, right? When I decided when I chose cybersecurity, it was because of assessing the kind of things I liked about IT, because IT is very, very broad. Cybersecurity is a sub area of overall information technology. So when I assessed what I liked to do, cybersecurity was the one that fit. So I decided I'm going to try it. So I started to study and I started to learn, and then from there, it helped to validate that I actually like this thing or this area of IT. In terms of getting to where I am now, it was a very, or at least developing in cybersecurity was a very deliberate effort for me. It wasn't a thing where I just went to work and just hoped that I would make it, per se. So first thing I did when I just landed the first cybersecurity job was I started to think about, how do I make myself known in the industry within Jamaica, right? I didn't have foreign plans and all of that as yet. And one of the things I did was to buy a domain for myself, which is gavindennis.com. And I said, you know what? I need to, when people search online, they need to be able to find me, or no one's going to know about me. How do I become known? If I want to apply for a job, how do I get links? That time I didn't have links. I didn't know anyone. I was just some guy who just liked cybersecurity. So I was very deliberate about the different things that I did to get here. Eventually, it ended up with having a business. But for most of you now who you're still pursuing university, you're still in high school, maybe you don't have to have a business to actually be successful and to make money, right? So don't see it as the ultimate end goal. You can be very successful having a 9 to 5, working for some big company, or just establishing yourself in a way where you are seen as very valuable. So lots of companies will be chasing to try to hire you, to give you contracts, etc. And maybe if you want to take the entrepreneurial route, you can. But I was very deliberate along the way of putting myself in a position where I create a brand. I studied to become qualified. I worked and studied throughout from 17, which would be 2007, until now. I was always working and studying. I've never not been working or not been studying. I've always been trying to pass some kind of IT certification. So I think it takes a lot of deliberate effort, to stand out, whether locally or internationally, especially now that cybersecurity is hot. I get tons of messages all the time from people who want to do it. But the thing that beats them a lot of the time is they don't want to put in the work. Let me give you a very basic example that to me still surprises me to this day. So someone will contact me and say, hey, I like cybersecurity. How do I get started? Right? And let's say now let's say this is January. A year from that, they'll contact me again, or let's say it's last year. A year from that, they'll contact me again. And they're still at the same place. I'll ask them things like, have you bought a book so far? Have you enrolled in a course? Have you applied to a job? And they've done none of those things. But they still, there's even one person now, which 5 years later, they're still telling me that they're interested and they haven't tried to sit an exam. So overall, what it means is you have to be, at least from my experience, you have to be very deliberate about, your success and where you want to be. And you'll have people along the way who will, discourage you a bit. But you have to be very deliberate about how you want to develop yourself to, so that you're known, so that, you are valuable, you're qualified, you're experienced, the jobs, if you don't have the links, the jobs are not going to magically just drop in your lap. I didn't have the job, so I didn't have the links, so I had to deliberately try to get there.
Right.
And along the way you'll network and possibly develop links, but my ultimate point to you is you have to be very deliberate about where you want to end up.
That's a good point. Talking about being deliberate, intentionality, when we're talking about going into business and build business, you have to be intentional about how you decide to do that. Because I think for a lot of us, we think it's a nice thing to hashtag girl boss, hashtag boss babe, right? It's cute, it sounds fun, it looks fun on the internet because you see them jet setting and they have the Gucci bag and they Gucci it out, right? And it looks very exciting. But what you're seeing is somebody after a considerable period of time working hard and getting to that point. The success doesn't come immediately. So you have to be intentional. You have to be deliberate, as Gavin says, and you have to want to be able to get there. You have to want to get there because it's going to be a hard slog for you to get there. You're going to have to actually do some work. But another important thing I heard you talk about is you don't even have to be an entrepreneur if you don't want to be an entrepreneur. There's no pressure on you being an entrepreneur. You're not defective because you decided that actually I don't know about this. This may not be for me. And that's the difference between being an entrepreneur and what we call an intrapreneur. Who knows what an intrapreneur is? What's an intrapreneur?
So an entrepreneur is someone that works within an organization to build a product or a service.
Yes, an entrepreneur is somebody who innovates within an organization. So they don't own the organization, but they are in the organization innovating, as you said, creating, whether it's a product or service, making things better, improving systems and processes, etc. So within that organization, they're creating value. Within that organization, they're making themselves visible and they're making themselves, what you call that? Invaluable to the point where they can't afford to lose you. So if you say, listen to me, so it's been 2 years and I think it's about raise o'clock. Yeah, it's about that time when y'all need to give me some more money and they're like, and you're like, okay, so Digicel called me and guess what? And in no time raise, because they don't want to lose you because you've become such an invaluable part of that team. So when you see people like Kerry and Stimson, I don't know if you guys know who that is. These are the people who are always out front. And you're going, "As she own GMMB? As she own?" They don't, but because they become the face of the organization, you know them. They become very visible to you. And while they're building their own brand and becoming invaluable to the organization, they're also building up the organization as well. So you can choose to take that path. You can still be creative, innovative, all that absolutely amazing thing, but you don't have to do it for yourself because entrepreneurship sucks. I'm just kidding. But it's not as fun. It's not always as fun as people make it out to be, right? It's not as cute as people make it out to be. And I'm sure you guys have had that experience. And as a former recovering entrepreneur myself, I can tell you that there are going to be times where you're like, I don't want to do this. And the panic sets in, right? Because you guys have goals that you said, okay, we want to make this amount of money by this time, but then you send out your invoices and nobody no want to pay it, right? I have to keep calling people like, Mr. Brown, no, 3 months later, Mr. Brown.
Right? All right, so here's the thing. So Katie mentioned something just now about, she said something just now that I want to add to, right? So there's this idea about you developing yourself and becoming invaluable.
Right.
Culturally, here in Jamaica, one of the things that you will likely go through as you start to build yourself is you will likely get a fight, right? Now, let me give you a real example. Yes, so he's saying yes. Let me give you a real example. Back in a couple of years ago, maybe like 5, 6, 2014, 2017, I decided I was going to buy a domain, right? I decided I was also going to start a blog, and I started to write on LinkedIn about cybersecurity, etc. The company I was working for at the time, they didn't have a blog, right? So I was writing online, I was building, and I was starting to become a bit popular on LinkedIn. I was the only person who was talking really about cybersecurity. It just wasn't a thing. So I started to become known. What started to happen was I started to get pushback from the company to say, hey, they don't like these things that I'm doing. I started to set up my own interviews on radio, and I even landed something on Smile Jamaica, right? And it's a real thing. So I literally called the radio station and said, hey, I work in cybersecurity. This is after maybe like 2 or 3 years. This is what I do. Would you like to talk about it? And so these little things started to happen. And what started to happen, I ended up in meetings that, they don't like these things and blah, blah, blah. And, I'm a very, I'd say, I'm very outgoing, I'm very determined, and I don't really take, yes, so I don't really take bullying well, right? So when they started to have these meetings with me, I ignored them, right? I ignored them, and I still went and I did my stuff.
Right.
And in the end, what would have happened if I had listened to them is I wouldn't have built a name, because they would have stifled me and it would have cut me off, right? So as you go around, as you start to develop, from here, and you say, oh, you're going to build a name for yourself, etc. There are people who you might become a competitor for. There might be people who just don't like the fact that you might be outshining them, and you will experience that. So don't see it as something that's demotivating. Just stick to it, and just know that it's just a part of the process.
Right.
You will get that kind of pushback. Even now, I still get that kind of pushback. Right? So just keep it in mind.
And I think one of the reasons why Gavin got the pushback is because he was doing something new and different when we don't understand something. But I want you to hear what Gavin said. Gavin said, I took up the phone and called them myself. And I said, no, somebody come talk about cybersecurity. Me know about cybersecurity. Sometimes you have to push down a door, kick down a door, knock down a door, and make your own entrance or build a door into a space, because Jamaica is still developing. We're not as technologically advanced. And so you come with some new ideas and concepts, and people are going, what? What's this all about? Don't allow that to demotivate you. You can be innovators, right? You can be the first person in the market to do this particular thing, like Olivia, right? And I'm sure that wasn't a demotivator for you, because it caught on pretty quickly, right? But even in organization, you may become bigger than the organization, and for some people that may become problematic. But then that's still an opportunity for you. That's still something you can leverage, right, Olivia?
Absolutely. And I wanted to add to that. That's so true, Gavin. Whereas you get the no's, you get the pushback, but it doesn't mean that it's final.
Right.
And being an entrepreneur, we are faced with many different challenges. And with these pushbacks, for me, I use it as a lesson to grow. I mean, just like a fish may outgrow its space, and you may need to get a bigger tank or pond.
Right.
That's how it is. But although with these challenges, entrepreneurship can be very rewarding.
Yes.
And by this, I mean, we're providing jobs for people, we're feeding families, we're inspiring people. When I just started, I remember somebody came to me, she was a little younger than I am, and she said to me, I was the reason why she started her business. And in that time, I was in two minds. Do I want to continue with this, or do I want to stop? But that just changed it for me. And I said, if somebody's looking on and I'm inspiring them to be, or to even just pursue their purpose, I need to continue.
Right.
So it has its pros and cons, but it's really rewarding and fulfilling when you really impact people's lives positively.
Exactly. And that's a mindset that you have to have. Ryan, I know you're the mindset kind of guy. That's the mindset that you kind of have to have. As I said, in the beginning, it may not catch a fire real quick, right? Not everybody may catch on real quick to what it is that you're doing. But if you're passionate about it, if you feel that this is your purpose, and if you see where down the road the money can come in, I'm encouraging you to continue doing it, but you have to have a particular mindset, Ryan. You have to no watch no face, as Jamaican people say, cut and go through, no watch no face. You have to be that kind of person that, as Crystal said earlier, believe in your own self, tell yourself yes first, and continue pushing forward, even when you don't think anybody's watching, because you actually don't know who's watching, Ryan. So when you put your little video up on Instagram or upon YouTube, and you only get your 80 views and your 20 views, and you get discouraged and you decide to, okay, well, I'm going to shift and do something else next week. You don't know how many persons were watching that and going, oh, I can't wait to the next one. And then you're going to do something else. And I'm like, okay, well, you're not serious, because you switch up and gone, right? So you have to have a particular mindset. You have to be intentional. You have to be determined, right, Ryan?
Yeah, one of the words I keep using these days, other than those, and to be motivated.
Right.
You have to be consistently disciplined.
Oh, consistency. Ooh.
You need to be disciplined with that intention,
Yeah.
with that motivation. If you don't continue to exercise, if you don't continue to do your research, trust me.
Right.
In relation to many things that the other panelists have said, I remember I saw this opportunity at a regulatory body for the government, and I said, wow, I can do all of this, but I wasn't qualified. I applied, I got the job over people who were even qualified inside the organization.
Right.
And there was a big campaign. I have it in my portfolio to this day, and in reference to the manager. But there was a meeting that was going on, and sometimes I remain silent. You know, I let the big people talk with all their double masters and doctorates, and working for places that are certified, ISO certified, and so on and so forth. And I got a cussing from my director of public affairs, because she was my direct supervisor, and I have never heard this woman speak patois before. Until now. And she said, Ryan, why didn't you say something in that meeting? So and so does not know what she's going to do when she says she's going to run voting online. You must say something. This woman sits on a board for communicators. Only female Caribbean person, a board for communicators globally. So she's very powerful in her own manner. And for her to have confidence in me, because I went ahead, presented a campaign, made the company save money. People thought that we outsourced somebody to create a web page and all of those things. And I did all it myself. Left the organization, and every couple of months they call me to do work for them.
Right.
Have confidence in yourself, have the discipline to improve and grow, and be consistent with that discipline. Very important.
And that sounds like take up space as well.
Yes,
right? Take up space and become visible as well, right? Become largest. You don't want to be a shrink. Don't be a shrinking violet. Because if you are in a room, as Brian said, people have PhD, them name Dr. So-and-so, right? And you don't have any qualifications in that space, but you're invited into that space for a reason. You're also sitting in that room for a reason. There's a reason why you're there. And I can add to that. I am not a digital marketer. I have never studied digital marketing. My background, like Ryan, is law. I studied law. I have a degree in law, right? But I found myself in a space where I'm teaching digital marketing, and I'm being invited into space like when UN come and go, oh, Miss Francis, we'd love for you to come and talk to us about digital communication in Jamaica. And I'm like, me? Me must come talk to them about me know not about digital communication. I don't know nothing. And I said yes because it's UN. Hello. Me I tell my father, I said, Daddy, UN called me, right? And I said yes, and I went and I did the research, and I went and I spoke, and I got a call after to say this was fantastic. Come and do something else for us again. I had no business being on that panel with the doctor so and so from Brazil, where they might talk and me go, I was struggling to keep up with what they were talking about. But this is what I want you to remember. Is when somebody invites you into a space to talk about something, they invite you there to talk about what you know. So you stay in your lane and you talk about where you know, because that's why you are in that room. To talk about what you know, to do what you know how to do better than anybody else in that room. That's the reason why you're in the room, right? So it's a mindset again. It's about being consistent. And I like how none of us here started with any kind of qualification in the thing that we're actually supposed to be doing, except for Gavin at a later stage who ended up getting his qualifications, right? But I also want you to understand that as high school students, as university students, it's not necessarily the module, but it's the skills that you pick up along the way that will actually serve you. Because I tell people I use my law degree every day, because you learn how to speak, you learn how to research, you learn how to write, you learn how to communicate. These are skills I use on a daily basis. So remember that as well. It's not just the modules that you study, but the skills that you pick up along the way as well. And as long as you remain consistent with that and you continue pushing through, I think you guys should be fine. So last words from our panelists about what do you do in the times where it's looking like it's not working? Do I pivot? Do I stop? Do I give up? Do I go look at work? What do I do in those times where you can't collect no money? It's a slow month, because not every month is money month, right? It's a slow month. It doesn't look like it's working out. Your dreams are fading, right? How do you reel all that in back? How do you pivot to get back into a space where you're back on purpose, let's say? Who wants it? You want to go, Kevin?
All right. I'm a little bit, I guess, unorthodox. So I have a business now, right? I always try to keep myself open to the idea that, you know, the business is just a means to make money. So I've never really been against going back to the corporate world. So, but what I've done in the past where things have seemed tough is that I ask for help. And you know, in the back of my mind, I remain open to exploring other options. So if, for example, G5, right? If G5 doesn't work out, I don't have a problem going back into the corporate world, look for a decent day job, getting paid, and maybe even relaunching G5 later on, or another company. So I don't see some of these things as necessarily an overall failure. G5 itself might not work at some point, or it might fail. You know, a job that you're in might not work. You might get fired. You know, look for another job. Move on to another company. For G5, you know, find something else to do that will generate income. Because in the end, you know, all of these things that we're doing is to make money for ourselves, to take care of our families. And so it's all really just a means to make money. So try to separate the pride from the means, so that, you know, whatever it is, you know that you are open and willing to bounce back and recover. So that's what I do now. So I don't see G5 as some kind of end all, or the fact that I'm an entrepreneur. You know, it's, for me, it's all just a means to make money, and I stay open and flexible to do other things if one thing doesn't work.
Anybody else?
Okay, like Gavin, if I may add to that, I definitely recommend multiple income streams.
Right.
You have to have a plan B. Things may not always go as well according to plan. This month may be a great month. Next month, this doesn't look like the bills are going to the money is going to cut it for the bills. So it's good to have a backup and, you know, a business too that can support the other, especially in cases in downtime. So it's very important to do that. Some people are fortunate to get help too from friends and family. That's an option. And just to ensure that the bills are being paid, especially the payroll time. You know, you need to pay people. People want their money when payday come. That's one of the things that sits on our heads. I'm sure everybody, that's a big deal. And so it's critical that we find ways and means where other resources can be generated.
Sometimes you'll be forced to find other streams or means of income. There's something that I wanted to say that I'll tell you. There was a young lady that I met at a job, and she had a passion for creativity, you know, putting things together, have a lot of ideas. So she's more of a part-time assistant or creative assistant for me. And I had a huge wedding in Port Royal. It was on Goblin Hill, beautiful place. And it was my friend's wedding, and he was getting married to a Swiss German. And the experience that she had there, she looked on me and said, "Ryan, I feel like I'm in a movie." And to hear things like that, and to hear her aspiration, she wants to finish another degree. I'm like, yo, I can't disappoint her. I want to see her dreams being fulfilled.
Right.
So I ensured that I taught her other skills. I would do live streaming for funerals, so many other things. If some of my social media clients or my Google Ads clients are messing around, I tapped into other skills and other things and made other people develop those things so that
Right.
they can make more money.
Right.
And of course, I can make more money also. And to pay other people. So look for the signs. Don't be, I would say, yes, you have a lot of faith and such, but look for the signs. The economy, it's not great, but you can make your own personal microeconomy
Right.
great for yourself with the opportunities that are there. Other streams of income, know when something might go awry, take up opportunities that you might have put to the side.
All right. So Gavin says, remain flexible, stay flexible. Flexible enough where you can pivot if it's not going the way you want it to go. Olivia says, listen, multiple streams of income because one burn and I work again. So multiple streams of income because you have to be able to keep yourself afloat. And Ryan is saying that tap into the other skills that you also have, develop those, have those on tap. So just in case anything happen, you can switch. If there's 1 month when this thing not working out, you can switch to something else. And that's what I'm hearing from everybody. Remain flexible, be able to pivot, develop all the other skills that you have, and find a way to monetize those skills that you can earn from them. And the last word goes to Olivia.
On the same topic, right?
Right.
Just to add, especially to upcoming entrepreneurs, a barter system is not entirely a bad idea.
Right.
So your friend has a business, you have one, you provide the service for them. You have something or a skill that you can offer. You do it for them, they do it for you in return. So that now will eliminate a cost or minimize your expense. Don't be afraid to utilize that.
Right. All right, then thank you guys so much. Guys, give them a round of applause for panel one. Thank you guys so much.
Okay, thank you so much to my panelists, Ryan Riley, Gavin Dennis, Olivia Lindsay. Can we give them one more round of applause, please? Thank you, Kadian. So I hope that you all were listening intently, like the first speaker, because we're going to have a giveaway at this point in time. Kerry, can you join me up here, please, for the giveaway?
Hello again, everybody. It's me. Yeah. See some of you looking very attentive, ready for the giveaways. All right. So I must say thanks to the panelists. I really enjoyed that just now. We learned a lot how to tap into other stuff and how to make money, what to do whenever it is that things go sideways. So of course I have a few questions, but they're more like comical questions, you know, like all these persons sat up here doing digital marketing, entrepreneur, all these stuff. But none of them started out in that. But there was just one particular person who really wanted to represent people, still helping people. Can anybody tell me who that is? If you don't know the name, you can point out. All right, I saw the hand there first. So I'm going to go with the hand in the pink. Can you use the microphone, please?
Oh, sorry.
You don't have to say the name if you don't remember the
Her
name.
name is Olivia something.
Olivia. Olivia wanted to be a lawyer? I doubt that. So let me jump over to Bridgeport here. Eeny, meeny, miny, moe, blah, 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 blah. You have book. Let me go with you. Yes, that's the young lady right there to the end. All right, if you want to go ahead and say it low, that's fine. Should I consider her to be one of the panelists? No. No, ma'am, lose that chance. Right there. No, the answer is actually Ryan. Ryan was the one who said he wanted to be a lawyer. All right. So is it that pretty lady that had on that really beautiful dress? Oh God, looking like a sunflower. There is this. So one of the thing about her company is that the credibility, the security, and all these other stuff that they discussed, right? What are the embassies that she has contracts with? Kayla, I saw your hand going up first. There's another one, right? She's correct. She's correct. She's correct. She's right. You know, I wish when I was going to school, I wish when I attended college, I was as attentive and take notes as them. That the group, the penny section up there, you guys are really good. So my next question, right? There are a few things that everybody on the panelists on the panel talked about. There was I'm not going to ask for all of them because a long list of them, but each of them said the same thing in just so many words, that you must be this, you must do that, you need to go right here, you must be this. So here I'm going to do it. Somebody from here come. You in the pink can come. Come. Because it's a lot, so anybody can choose. You can come. And Kayla, of course we have Kayla. So go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, they wanted to help people.
All right, they wanted to help people, but in terms of how to be that entrepreneur and how to get there and to maintain it, what is it that you need to do?
Research.
That's definitely correct. Give me one more. I don't want you guys out there talking. So they did say research. That was a big one. Every one of them spoke about research. I'm going to come back to you. Maybe in the middle.
Okay, so loud. Okay, so I remember them. I believe it was Mr. Ryan that was speaking about positioning yourself.
That's correct.
In the means of getting the links, getting the network. Your network is your net worth. That was Mr. Rage Riley, I believe. Yeah. So they spoke about positioning yourselves in places where people see you. Take up the room, enough of yourself, as our host said, and also he spoke about research already. So you're networking and human resource. I believe Miss Lindsay really capitalized on that in her business, because she said in somewhere like the transportation industry, that is something major that you have to look on. So human resource and networking.
All right, so that's networking, and you said position, right? So we have research, position, network. Ms. Paul?
You also need to have the drive and the motivation to.
That is correct.
Carry out the job. I think I don't remember his name said it.
That's fine.
And
and you also, well, they said research already. You need to get yourself qualified as well. That was something
He did
else.
say that. They did say that. Well, thank you so much, guys. I hope we were looking at the persons for the gift. So it was research. They all spoke about research. They all spoke about positioning yourself, knowing that hey, you have this idea, you tap into this, you put yourself in this room or where to go to, position yourself for better. And they all talk about being deliberate. Nobody remember that? And also, oh, I'm so sorry, my dear. But hey, we have more giveaways. Being deliberate and also multiple streams of income. So, guys, there's more giveaways to come. I really love the participate. Love your. You have something? I'm sorry.
Remember consistency.
Someone said that. We didn't say consistency. I'm so sorry. But yes, guys, you need to be consistent. Put in the work and be consistent. So you'll see me again after the next presentation. Thank you. She has them. Yes, we all
Yes, you will receive your gift for answering the questions correctly. Okay, I can't express how much I enjoy that that you people are listening and you're taking notes. So when we're asking questions, you can relay them back to us. But I don't only want you to know them for the question and answer segment. I want you to leave with all of the information that you're getting today. Okay? Okay? All right. So we have 3 more panelists that are going to come to us and to teach us things that we did not know or to tell us more information about things we would have already known. So we spoke about passion. We spoke about purpose. What have we not yet spoken on? Right there, so profit. All 3 P's, passion, purpose, and profit. But before these panelists join us, we're going to be having a special guest to bring a message to us. Kadian, are we ready?
Good afternoon. Are you hearing me clearly?
How are you feeling after hearing all the information you've heard today? How are you feeling? You feel motivated? Give me a next adjective. Educated. Give me a next one. Huh? Inspired. Give me a next one. Huh? Not hearing you. Confident? Give me one more. One more. Zealous. I like it. Ready? So we're going to be having a greeting from the UCC president, Dr. Davies. Greeting from the UCC president, Dr. Davies.
Good afternoon.
UCC president, Dr. Davies.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
Okay, are we ready to go? Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
All right. Okay, thank you very much.
Ready to go.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
All right. Indeed, a pleasure for me to.
Ready to go.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
All right. Indeed, a pleasure for me to.
Ready to go.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
All right. Indeed, a pleasure for me to.
Ready to go.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
All right. Indeed, a pleasure for me to.
Ready to go.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
All right. Indeed, a pleasure for me to.
Ready to go.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
All right. Indeed, a pleasure for me to.
Ready to go.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
I am not sure what the situation is. There's quite a bit of feedback. I am not sure what the situation is. There's quite a bit of feedback. I am not sure what the situation is. There's quite a bit of feedback. I am not sure what the situation is. There's quite a bit of feedback. I am not sure what the situation is. There's quite a bit of feedback. I am not sure what the situation is. There's quite a bit of feedback. I am not sure what the situation is. There's quite a bit of feedback. I am not sure what the situation is. There's quite a bit of feedback.
You test
I am
one,
not
two,
sure what the
you test
I am
one,
not
two,
sure what the
two, two, one. You test
I am
one,
not
two,
sure what
one, two. Okay, so we're having a little bit of a technical difficulty, but that will not.
Can you hear me now? I'm not sure if you're able to hear me, but I will proceed. It's indeed a pleasure and joy for me to have the opportunity to welcome each of you to Youth Forum today. I am truly sorry that because of other commitments, I cannot be there with you physically today. But I know that you have been having a meaningful experience, a great enjoyment. I had the opportunity of tuning in to YouTube between my earlier meetings and listening to our host and other presenters, albeit for short periods of time. And nonetheless, having you at the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean today is indeed a joy and a pleasure for us. You would have heard my message that was played earlier, but I thought that it's always important to join in physically and to be there live so that I could have the opportunity of greeting each one of you. I'd like to encourage you to think about yourself and your future. Think about all that you learned today and the opportunities that lie ahead of you. Establish a vision of greatness for yourself. Stay focused in school and on your educational opportunities. And as you move through life and you graduate from high school and you move on and you consider whether coming to UCC, which we hope, or to any of the other tertiary institutions across this country or elsewhere, that you will remember that you are special to every one of us. And we look forward to encouraging you along your journey so that you could achieve the level of success that you desire to have for yourself. So thank you very much and have a great day. Thank you.
Test. Can we put our hands together once more for the UCC president, Dr. Davies? So as I mentioned earlier, we have 3 more panelists for you this afternoon. We've spoken on passion, we've spoken on purpose, and now we're going to speak on profit. Tiana Chung, Wanga Gal, is once upon a time a math brain turned content creator and professional foodie. Her journey into the content world began through her Instagram-based food blog at Wonder Gal, which has since led into a career of food photography, social media management, and copywriting. Since starting her content career in 2019, she has had the pleasure of working with notable local and international brands such as Grace Foods, Brunswick Tuna, Maxfield Bakery, CB Foods, Old El Paso, and Betty Crocker. In January 2021, she was nominated for the Digital Jamaica People to Watch list. Since then, Tiana has been able to secure long-term partnerships with local brands to create and manage content for their respective digital channels. Her passion is creating positive conversations around the human experience with food in photo and video form, and and to contribute, to the development of the Jamaican digital experience. Then we go to Jermaine McDonald, who is the founder of Learn, Grow, and Invest. Jermaine is an ambitious visionary and entrepreneur with a desire to raise up others to achieve their full potential. He's a former Microsoft employee who still works within the sphere of technology as a training manager for business intelligent tools. He takes every opportunity to help others find solutions and achieve greater productivity using the tools available. Outside of his 9 to 5, he founded with his wife Learn, Grow, Invest Limited, which is geared towards financial and investor education. He maintains a YouTube channel for Learn, Grow, Invest, along with managing their social media pages. He's a husband, a father, an investor, and a leader with true passion for learning and a gift for teaching, which he uses to inspire others. This mostly self-taught investor enjoys seeking out knowledge and applying the knowledge gained. More than that, though, he enjoys sharing what he has learned with others. And last, but certainly not least, we go to Samoya Mattis, who is the Happy Start Travel. This is a travel and adventure expert who visited over 80 cities in 24 countries. She's the founder and operator of Happy Start Travels, a full-service agency that helps clients plan trips, apply for visas, book flights, and make hotel reservations. A serial entrepreneur, Ms. Mattis also owns and operates a digital production company called Sonique Entertainment, which provides video and photography services and studio rental. Ladies and gentlemen, your final 3 panelists teaching us profit: Jermaine McDonald, Tiana Chong, and Samoya Mattis.
All right, it's me again, guys. How we doing? How we doing? Good, great. So I have 3 awesome people, well, 3 more awesome people here. And I wanted these 3 people especially because I know of them. And so Samoya and Tiana have been a Digital Jamaica person to watch. When was it, last year? 2022. I run Digital Jamaica. So I have a little bit of information and knowledge about who these people are. And I wanted them here to talk to you because they do unconventional things. Would you say what you guys do is unconventional, right? Yeah, so starting with Samoya, who's closest to me. Samoya, how did you end up traveling to, I know it's more than 80 cities now, because it was 80 cities at the time. So how many countries have you been to since 2022? Because it's, is it on?
Is it on?
Yes.
Yeah, it's on. Hello, everybody. Hello. All right. So since the start of I'm just gonna do 2022. I've been to 18 countries this year alone.
18 this year.
Yeah.
And that's in addition to the 24.
Yeah.
So you're now at 42.
Yeah.
42 countries. Okay, so she has done 42 countries. And how many cities is that now? Waleep.
Yeah.
Waleep country. So she is how would you describe yourself? A travel adventure.
Yeah, I'm an adventure traveler.
An adventure traveler. And so that's an unconventional way of making money. So how did you get to the point where, oh, well, I'm just going to start jumping on plane and go place while making money doing that? How did you get there?
Well, making money wasn't the original aim.
Right.
Because when I started traveling, I didn't even know I could monetize it.
Right.
So it was after I started, I think most of the credit should go to social media.
Right.
Because when I started traveling and I was collecting all this footage and all this content, but nobody knew I was traveling.
Mm-hmm.
And then I decided I'm going to start posting about it. And then when I started posting about it, that is when it started to monetize. Because then you have brands that want to give me their stuff to bring with me. You have hotels that invite me for free. You have restaurants and basically every vendor in the travel scape that was willing to pay or give me things for free to come to their establishment or to use their product. And there's almost every product has some place in travel.
Right.
Because it goes from travel essentials to just a bag, a pair of shoes, headphones, electronics, our little trinkets, passport covers, everything has a place in travel. And then now it comes down to now people want to do it themselves. So people started asking, how do I do this? And then I realized that telling people about it, coaching people to do it took up a lot of time.
Right.
So I'm like, I'm going to have to start charging for my time.
Of course.
Because if I spend hours telling everybody, then I'm not going to have time to do anything else.
Right.
So that is how we got to the monetization part of it.
So is that the genesis of Happy Start Travels?
So Happy Start Travel, well, what I did was turn it into an actual business, because
Right.
just me telling people what to do is not really a business. It's just you paying me for information.
Right.
So I was able to turn it into a service that people actually need, which is people need trip planning. People need tours and adventures in different countries. People need assistance with visas, because not only am I telling you to go to these places, but how are you going to get there?
Mhm.
Because a lot of people don't know the power of the passport or what the requirements are to travel from Jamaica to other places. So now I turned that into a service, which is the visa application, the planning of the trips, booking of the flights and the tours and everything in the
Right.
destination.
So you move from, okay, this is something that I like to do. I like to travel. I like to go places. This is something I started to do privately. Now people want to know how I ended up doing this, be able to travel, because one of the reasons why it's so, I guess, why it's such a novelty thing, right? Because we have a Jamaican passport and we don't think our Jamaican passport can get us into a lot of places, right? But that's
Yep,
not
yep.
true.
That was one of the biggest things for me when I started gaining traction on social media. Like, you could see my comments. People were like, "You lying? There's nothing like this. You can't go them place upon Jamaican passport. Nothing no go so." And like at first it was just attack, and then like people realized that, listen, if I'm doing it and showing you that I'm doing it,
Right.
it got to be possible.
Right. So, so now people are like, oh, so I can actually use my Jamaican passport and go jet set all over the world and have a fabulous time. And that's when the monetization part start, because what we're talking about right now on this panel is how to monetize any skill or talent that you have. And then Jeremy now going to tell us, after we start make the money, how we're going to invest that money to build wealth, because we don't want to be rich. We want to be white people wealthy. And we know what white people wealthy mean, right? White people wealthy mean you're pitney, I got rich. We want to be that kind of wealthy, or we want to at least start generating that kind of wealth, right? Generational wealth is what we call that, right, Jermaine?
Yes.
Generational wealth. And so Learn, Grow, Invest Club started out with, I have an interest in investments.
Yeah.
And then a whole heap of people go, me too. And then you're like, okay, great. I make money doing investments. And they're like, tell us how. So what you're going to hear a lot of today is people going, I started doing something I'm interested in. Other people became interested in it. And then I got put into, or I positioned myself where I know the authority on the thing. And I can now charge you to tell you what I know about the thing. Right, guys? That's exactly what happened, Tiana. Because Tiana, I know you started out as a bookie, like a nerd. Tiana's a nerd, right? Like Tiana. Tiana started out as a bookie with textbooks. That was your thing. You were a math brain.
Yeah. So I actually have a degree in math.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
I hear math, I break out into hives. Maths is not my friend.
Yeah. And so it was kind of during that journey in college where I ended up getting the opportunity to go abroad. And by abroad, I mean I was already abroad in America. And so I ended up getting the opportunity to go to school in Trinidad for a semester. That opportunity granted me another opportunity to go to Cuba for a week. So I was traveling. And I just, at this point in time, I kid you not, yes, I was doing a math degree, but don't ask me what I was going to do with the degree. Like, don't ask me what I was going to do with it, because I genuinely did not know. And it's one of those things, and it came back to serve me now. At the time when I was thinking of what to do with my degree, people were like, no, in my mind, I was thinking, okay, what degree? I don't know what I want to do with my life. What degree am I going to choose that when I say I have a degree in that, people are going to automatically think that I'm smart?
Yeah.
Like without seeing my credentials, without anything, what is going to make me look super smart on paper? And that's why I ended up choosing math, given that I didn't know what else I wanted to do. And it worked. And so it's kind of like, it started there. And then now that I'm out of college, I started doing the Wanga Gal thing. I was traveling, and so I was taking a lot of pictures of food. And that's kind of how Wanga Gal started. But then once Wanga Gal kind of started to pick up, I moved back to Jamaica. People started coming to me, and by people I mean local business owners started coming to me and asking for help with their own social media presence, they needed someone to create content for them and manage their own social media. And in a sense, I was interning with someone who I still work with right now. I guess she would act as my mentor. I love her. And I remember our first meeting, she said, so Tiana, why you have a math degree? Why did you do that? And I told her the exact story that I told you guys just now. And the first thing she said to me was, that's marketing. You marketed yourself. You were thinking ahead from a marketing perspective. How are you going to sell yourself regardless of the industry that you end up in? Because as I said, at the time, I had no idea where I was going to end up. And so, yeah, that's kind of where it picked off. It kind of just kicked off from there. Working with her, I was able to learn a lot of skills in terms of social media marketing. And then I was able to apply those to Wanga Gal. And it's just kind of been like a loop. Yeah.
Right. I like how Tiana go, oh, well, I just decided to do math.
Yeah, I know that's not something people do.
I wanted to do math. Okay, because we just decide we want to do maths and we get up tomorrow and have a degree in maths, right? I don't know about that, because it does take a certain level of smart or a certain level of genius to just decide that you want to do maths and go do it. Because as I said, I hear maths, I break out in hives, I can count to 10. I can't guarantee you what happens after I reach 10. So she has a degree in math, and she was able to parlay that degree in math, right? Use it to market herself, because when you hear she have a degree in math, you know, automatically say she's smart, don't? Right. So she is smart, right? So I want you to also understand, and this is what I want you all to pick up from here, with the exception of probably Crystal, nobody that came on this stage started out doing the thing that they studied to do, ended up, or they're doing the thing that they studied doing. In 2022, that's not what they're making money from. But it's the skills that they learned along the way that they're also applying to what they're doing today, right? And so going back to being able to monetize, anybody can tell me, what do I mean by monetize? When I say monetize, what do I mean?
Use your ability or your skill to make money.
Okay, that's a very simple, very succinct way of saying it. You're using your skills and your talent, and you're making money from your skills and from your talent. I know all of you here have your favorite digital personality, or the person you go on Instagram, you visit their page, you go on TikTok and visit their page. I want you to understand that none of these people that you see on there are doing these things randomly. This is not just, they just post something. This is all very well scripted. This is all very well planned. And they're actually, for the most part, they're making money from it, because they're now in a position where they can influence other people to do the thing. And that's why for you, Samoya, people would come to you and go, well, we see you're traveling here, so you have a lot of people who's interested in this. Here's a luggage. Here's some luggage. I'm sure you get luggage a lot, right? Here's a suitcase, right? We want you to use this suitcase because you're in a position to influence other people to buy the suitcase, and so you earn money that way, right? So as a person who is putting themselves out there, creating content for digital platforms, you can actually attract these kinds of opportunities to yourself. Somewhere, how did you start making money though? What was the first solid paycheck you got as a travel influencer? What did you do with it?
All right. So yeah, well, I was about to mention that there's the different kinds of monetization.
Sure, yes.
So there is the influencer monetization where like the company, for every sale they make from your referral, you earn a residual income.
So we call it affiliate.
Right,
Mhm.
affiliate marketing.
Affiliate marketing.
And then there is the direct payment where them say
Sponsorship.
$100 a year, carry a suitcase with you everywhere.
Right.
You go. I had the first one I had was the affiliate one, but the first paycheck I got was the upfront payment where them say with things there. I got it from a brand called Nomads. Yeah. So that company does like souvenirs for travel where they give you like some small keychains with all the places that you've been. So if you are like a travel souvenir collector, you will have like some small rings with the places on it. And I
Right.
remember the guy sent me the email and I responded, is this a paid opportunity? And the guy goes, yes, of course. We're going to give you $250 and they're going to send me the product. And all I have to do is post a TikTok with them. I'm like, that's it. That's all, like, nothing else. Like, I get free things plus money. And all I have to do is post a little video. And in the description that they gave me, they were like, you don't have to say we paid you. All you have to do is just make sure that the product is seen in whatever video you're posting.
Right.
So you have the freedom of posting what you normally post. It's just that make sure that people can see this item. I'm like, jackpot. So now I can't post my regular video. And you pay for me to do that? So at first I didn't think it was real, but then the guy was very communicative. He sent all the details and then I sent my banking information and the money reached. I'm just
How did you know it's not spam?
I didn't know that. But when I read the email, he seemed genuine. It wasn't one of those like scammy emails, and he wasn't asking me to send him anything.
Right.
So
that's important.
Yeah. So for people who, for you guys to know that when the scamming emails come in, they're gonna ask you to send them things. Yes, I did. I went and looked up the brand, and it was actually a brand that I had pre-saved on my Instagram because I wanted to get one of the keychains. And I'm like, look at God.
So you didn't have to spend your money getting it.
Yes. So I told them what I wanted, and they sent the product. And after I told them that I received the product, then the payment came after. And I had the guy was like, the only thing I had was a deadline. They were like, ensure you post it before such and such date. And then I made the video, and my response to them was just a link, and that's it.
Right.
I buy one plane ticket with the money.
Oh, you're not buying. So you ended up traveling to somewhere else with the money.
So on the plane to the next place, I was like, come with me to so and so, and then I included the product in the video
Right.
somewhere.
So we
along
call
the
it
way.
product placement.
Yeah.
You got paid for product placement. So Samaya, staying with Samaya, when did you decide that traveling was something you were interested in to the point where you actually committed to doing it and started doing it?
I don't know when I think it was in COVID that the switch happened, because I used to travel a lot before the pandemic, but then after there was the lockdown, I remember I went to like 3 countries right before the lockdown, and as I got back to Jamaica, all the airports closed, and I was like, damn, I was just getting into the groove. But then when the airports closed down, all the flights cut like 50-75%. So I took a chance. I was like, you know what? Let me get us some tickets and see. And I bought like 7 flights to go to 7 different places. Well, not one time, but when no airport never opened, I was gambling on the airports opening back. So when the airports reopened in June, and I started traveling in November because I wanted to give enough time for them to reopen. So when it reopened in June, I was like, yes. So in November, I went to Turkey, and while I was in Turkey, I'm coming back to Jamaica. I said, I don't want to go back. I want to go somewhere else. And I was looking at flights, and it was like $100 from Turkey to go to Marrakesh. I'm like, why am I going back home?
Right.
And then it was like $100 from there to go to somewhere else. So it was like once you're like in an area, it's like super cheap to jump from country to country. So then I don't have to worry about this lump sum of money from place to place. I'm like, but I could keep doing this.
Right.
And then I started getting the traction and the payments, and I started calculating in my mind. If I make $200 every week, all I have to do is land one affiliate marketing or one person to pay me. One, if I land one every week or one every 2 weeks, I can afford to stay traveling. I don't have to go back home. I can afford to skip from country to country. And then at the time I was backpacking. So I was staying in hostel. I don't know if anybody here knows what hostels are. So I'd stay in hostel. So my cost of living was down really, really low. And I realized I was spending way less than when I was in Jamaica, because then I stopped paying the phone bill because my phone now work a foreign. I talked to my landlord, we do a business pitch. I said, listen, I won't be here for several months. Is it possible for me to pay half the rent? He was hesitant at first, but I'm not here. I'm not using up any resources. You don't have to cut the yard. You don't have I did this whole pitch until him finally break and say, all right, half. So no, all I had to do was calculate it. So I decided that at the end of 2020 going into 2021, I just mapped out as many places I could go. And from the beginning of 2021 to now, like I just got back to Jamaica a week ago. So from that time till now, I was just hopping from country to country to country to country.
So all them time that when I see I do TikTok live, I never Jamaica?
No.
So you've not been in Jamaica for over a year?
Right.
And you've just been country hopping and backpacking and hosteling. Of how much money would you say you've made? You don't have to tell me the exact amount of money. Well, how much money do you think you would have made during that time? You so like you take out for calculated?
I've made in excess of I don't ask what? Oh, the mathematician. Good idea. Well, I don't know. To put a figure on it, I'm well in excess of 20,000 US dollars.
Oh, mathematician, how much money? 20 times 155. 20 times 155, how much money?
Because I got to the point where I was making 250 each week, because that was my original goal.
Right.
To land at $250 a week.
Mm-hmm.
And then that $250 easily turned into like 500.
500 and more. And then the more experience you start building up your is. Okay. So the more experience you have, the more places you go now, is the more money you can start to attract. Because nobody can get $250. It's no 700.
So I was gonna say even though she was making money then, she's building her brand the whole time.
The whole time,
Exactly.
right? So the bigger the brand grows, is the more money you charge. So
And I
it's
had
supposed to go.
mentioned before about residual income.
Right.
All of those affiliate marketing things were also coming in.
Still paying you
Right.
over and over and over
so
again.
like every time, because remember that happens on its own, it's just
Yeah.
somebody that goes to shop on their own time.
Yeah.
And says I referred them.
Okay.
And then when they purchase that,
You got the money.
Right. So from time to time I'd get like $100, $90, $60, and it would be from people purchasing products using the code, my referral code.
Right. So you've had your residuals coming in. So then you were traveling, making that money. You had the residuals coming, but then you had the business.
Mm-hmm.
So when did the business really start taking off, where people are like, okay, because from time to time you see our poster chips of, oh, we're going to Ghana, or, people come on and go. Eh. So when did that start taking off? Because that's another stream of income right there.
So that was the end of 2021. I think I got back to Jamaica for a short time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized how many messages I had from people saying they wanted to travel with me and so on. So I was like, okay, let me tailor some group trips and see if people are going to come. So I did one at first. And then the amount of people that wanted to come along, I had to start telling people that, no, I can't bring so much people.
Right.
I can't travel with so much people. And what I do is you have the cost of the trip, and then I charge a small fee for each person on the trip. So to give you guys a figure, let's say I charge $50 per person, there's 20 person on the trip, all of that is mine, different from what the persons are paying from the trip. And then in the destination, the vendors also give commission on, let's say if I bring 20 people, the vendor be like, okay, 20% is yours. If I bring 40 people to the hotel say, all right, you get 2 room free. And it's just coming around like in different places. So I earn from all of that.
So you see how she has been able to build out different streams of income from this one thing. So she's making the money from direct sponsorship, affiliate marketing, now doing this business, right? Charging the fee and then getting commissions because she's bringing business into these other businesses, right? I think that's proper amazing. So that's awesome. Going over now to, before I go back to Tian, I want to go to Jermaine because Jermaine is the investment guy now. And I want Jermaine to start talking to us about once you start generating the kind of money that Samoya is generating, what we do with it? Because we're not, as I said, we're not just want rich, we want to be wealthy, right? We want to, with the whole at the front, wealthy. So now when we start making money now, how do we start investing? Because you know, in Jamaica now, the sexy talk is investment. Everybody wants to, whether it's trading or stocks and IPOs and excitement. That's the latest thing young people are getting into because we want to be rich. We want to, have money. So as a young person like Samoya, who is actually starting to generate money that way, how can we then take that money and turn it into money, like big people money?
So there are a couple of things that I'd say first before I get to
Yeah.
how to invest. So once you find a way to monetize anything that you're able to do, whether it's skill, whether it's a service, there's this thing that or this place that I think you need to get to in terms of finding a way to automate or generate that stream of income, right? So yeah. So and not necessarily passive income, because I like to say that passive income does not start passively, right? You have to work to build it to a point and then it becomes passive. So what I usually do first, right? Because I may be known as the investment guy, but I'm a businessman first.
Right.
So the business side of things is what I think about first. So we were building Learn, Grow, Invest as a community because what I saw behind the community was a potential business. So if you can find a way to capitalize on what you're currently doing in terms of a service being provided or a skill being leveraged, find a way for you to make that money if it is that you can't provide that service anymore, right? So if for some reason you can't travel for 6 months or 1 year, how can you now continue to generate revenues? Because the main thing that you're generating revenue from is travel. If you can't travel, then what? And sometimes we don't really see the opportunities that exist for us to make money, even though we're not still providing the service, right? So coaching is a good thing, classes, videos, etc. Right? So we can, it varies depending on what you're doing, but I'm always thinking about the fact that, what if I can't do this thing that I'm good at? So that's why we started to create content, because right now there's somebody watching a video on our channel that I created like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, right? So when you start making money or finding ways to monetize, and you find a way now to create systems around it so it becomes a business for you, then what you want to do is find a way to minimize your expenses, right? So that's to generate a product or service. Exactly that. Exactly. So when you do that, imagine if you make 100,000 per month and you find a way to keep spending less and less each month, you're going to be able to save more and more. So if you're able to travel the world while providing a service, while having to offset the cost of the traveling and accommodation through someone else, you're able to save more, which means you can actually invest more. So once you've done that, what you want to do is invest according to your personal preferences, right? So there are many options for investing. Stocks are a good way to start. We usually say start with stocks because it's a very low barrier of entry. You can use $1,000 and start investing today, right? But what you do now is invest with the understanding that I'm now investing in something as I work and continue to work. And then at some point, I'm going to say, well, I don't want to travel anymore. Maybe I want to start a family. Maybe I want to settle down. Maybe my partner does not want to travel as much as I do. So now I have to stay home a little bit more. So maybe I want to buy a house or something like that. So you invest with the mindset that it's going to be a long-term building of wealth, right? It doesn't become generational wealth until it starts with just wealth for you, and then you create it for as many persons as you can create it for. That's the extent or the length to which your wealth will be maintained, right? So stocks are pretty much shares in companies that are themselves generating revenues and providing services to other people, right? So any company can issue shares. If they issue those shares publicly, then they're a publicly listed company, and you make money that way when those shares become more valuable, right? So just like we're in a building right now, this building has a cost. Depending on the location, depending on its use, depending on how things are done, this may increase in value over time. Stocks are the same, right? So if UCC invested like let's say X amount to pay for this building in 2022, 2032, it may be worth X more, right? So they're able to either lease out this building or sell this building or do whatever they want to with it, right? Same way investing works regardless of how you're investing, right? So it could be stocks, cryptocurrency, real estate, investing in your own business. It doesn't really matter. The point is to invest in a way that matches your own preferences. Some persons don't like it to be a risky investment, meaning they may want to preserve their capital, and that's the most important thing for them. I put down 100,000. I want to know that 100,000 is still there 5 years from now. Some persons say, well, I'm putting down 100,000. I want it to be 500,000 5 years from now. And some persons may say, well, I want to be able to get $5,000 from that $100,000 a few times per year. That's what we call dividends, right? Or interest payments if it's a bond. So when you generate revenue from your source of providing that service or product, you can now invest the proceeds from that. And that can be, to me, I think of it like another me generating that money while I'm not working.
Right. So you are using your money to generate money.
Pretty much.
Okay, awesome. Okay, that was a lot. That was a lot.
I was gonna say I was talking for a long time. I hope
No,
I didn't lose
it's a
anyone.
lot. It's a lot to process. It's a lot of information, but it's a lot of useful information, and I appreciate you for asking those questions. Tiana, how about you? Going over to you now, and then we go back to Jermaine, because Jermaine going to tell each of us how to invest your money now. So going back to you now, Tiana, now that you're back in Jamaica and you're starting to push out content, and all of a sudden you find that you're a social media manager now, and you're doing digital marketing for people. What was the first money you earned as a creator? Do you remember? And what you did with it?
Oh God. You know what? I really do not remember what was the first, and I'm sad to say there's been so many.
Oh, you hear that? There's been so many. She can't count, she can't keep track.
Yeah, what I will say though is that, yeah, I'm sorry, I can't remember which exactly was the first. But I think what has really worked for me, for Wanga Gal, is at one point, and I mean, of course, when it just started out, right, it was very
it was very like, okay, somebody's gonna pay me to do one post, somebody's gonna pay me to do one, like one post, right? And I think since maybe like 2021, I've been able to move from doing one post to having more long-term contracts with local brands. And like for me, that was a big deal for me because whereas, people always ask me, oh, like, does Wanga Gal make you money? And like, I don't like to think of myself as an influencer. Like, I'm not one of those people who's like, hey guys, like, come on my channel, like and subscribe. Like, that's just not me. But what I feel like has served me is being able to, as like I said in the last panel, work on creating a network for myself, and also having Wanga Gal and the content that I produce on Wanga Gal kind of be my marketing tool.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the clients, and I can call them clients now because we have long-term contracts, but a lot of my clients came on board because of the work that they saw me doing on Wanga Gal, and
Right.
a lot of that work was for free.
Mhm.
A lot of that work, a lot of what is on Wanga Gal, I mean, yes, there are a lot of paid, paid content collaborations on Wanga Gal, but a lot of it is really just me going around the place, eating on the place, and taking pictures and videos and then posting it. Like, it's really just a passion project. And that passion project has gotten the attention of other local business owners, and they have in turn reached out to me and they're like, we see the work that you are doing and we want you to do that work for us as well. And so I think, I guess, coming back to the automated income, right? I think that's where I am, and that's what's so important to me now, is being able to create relationships with brands, with clients that I know the money is coming next month and the month after that and the month after that and the month. I don't have to be worrying about whether I'm gonna make it this month versus next month or the month before, because the contracts are there. It's in paper.
It's
if you
in
don't pay me,
writing.
I can come after you because you get me?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where I am now. And I think that was the biggest step for me. And that's kind of where I see myself going.
Yeah. And that's a major flex. That's a, I don't worry about money because it's in writing, contract signed. So I ain't got to worry about money. They have to pay me, man. So that's a major flex, and that's what I want you guys to aspire to. So if some of you in here are young content creators, you may have a channel. I see one older in the audience looking fabulous today, Alicia. You create content, you put content out there, but I want you to think of social media as more than just a platform where you just post some things on. As Tiana said, as Somaya said, it's a portfolio. Like, it's somewhere where you put your work out there for people to see, for you to become visible to people, so them can say, yeah, me like, oh yeah, that eat the patty, juicy patties. I like how the party look in this video. Let me give you money to do that again, Tiana. And all of a sudden now you have contractual arrangements with Juicy Patties, right? And so you're putting yourself out there again. I said earlier, you become visible and relevant to the right people, and you're then leveraging all of that into making money as a brand. You can now turn yourself, your personality, your ideas, your skills into an investable brand, right, Jermaine?
So I was actually gonna say one of the hardest things for content creators is knowing how to price what they're doing,
your services.
So yeah, and so actually, as I said, I'm a businessman first. So
Right.
I'm thinking, and I help content creators to develop their business, right? Because so you may be doing it, and I think everybody starts, well, most persons may start their content creation journey because it's fun, because you love doing it. It's something that is your passion. at some point you'll realize that it's probably the most work you'll ever do. Most persons think that creating content is all fun, and they don't understand for you to do that 30-minute video may take you like 15 hours, right? So because you're doing this, and that's the trade-off that you have to make, because if you worked 9 to 5, 40 hours per week, you may get paid X amount. When you're doing content creation, spending maybe more time than you would have at your job to create something that's free, where you have to beg for likes, beg for persons to subscribe and share the video, you're like, well, at some point, exactly. So you either say you want to stop because you're doing all this work and you look up and you see 20 views. Like, I did all this work, I researched, I did my thing good, and 20 views.
Hey, let me, before you continue, let me just interject a small thing. So when I'm creating content, there is this thing that's very discouraging with the 20 views. And somebody once said to me, I remember I was complaining about it to one of my cousins. And he said, I remember the views I had was like at 250. I was like, people getting like thousands of views and me just I get 250. And he said to me, imagine gathering 250 people in this room. And then those 250 people, they each give you $5 or they each give you a like. How would you feel leaving the room? And I said, I feel, imagine in a room with 250 people just praise you. And I stopped looking at it like it's 250 people. I just, when there's 100 people, I say 100 people in our room, enough people.
Exactly.
So when I get to 10,000 or 20,000 or 100,000, I'm like, damn, me I full up stadium like Bob Marley.
But before we even get there, whether it's 10 people or sorry, Katie, we're taking over here.
Please.
But whether it's 10 people, 250 people, 10,000 people, it takes one person to draw up that contract, right?
Yes.
It just takes the right person
Yes.
to see it and say, I like you, I want you, we need to create a long-term relation. Like it really, and I think you're so right. Like it really, 250 people in a room is not people. So, and you know, it can really go a long way. Don't be discouraged because you're not having.
You don't have a lot of views. And as Jermaine said earlier, Jermaine, you said somebody right now is watching a video you made 2 years ago, because Jermaine creates what we call evergreen content. Evergreen content is content that is relevant no matter what time you buck up on it. And so he's talking about something that everybody and their mother interested in, how to make money. And because he's talking about how to make money and how to invest the money that you're making, and he's providing useful information like which IPO come on, and not just that, him have the big people them on the show, I tell you things, or we can come on and ask them questions and excitement, and 2 years down the line this information remains relevant because what them name Dollar Financial Services, when they expect them to drop off tomorrow. So 2 years down the line, Dollar is still a viable company that can be invested in. And here this video with the Dollar man, they're talking about the company and the investing the money in the company. And so the content remains relevant. We always want to travel, right? All of we want to go foreign, we want to jump on the plane, yeah. We want to do the video, the content video where they walk through the airport. Yeah, we wanted that too. Asking with it. Yeah, I'm in Turkey. Talk to me nice. We all want to do that, right? So Samoya creating a video telling you how to do that is going to always be relevant to the people who's interested in that. Tiana and I share a mutual interest in food, let's just say, right? We share a mutual interest in food. And so content that Tiana creates around food, she even has a podcast creating our own food and talking about food and sharing your love. Thank you so much, Bridgeport. You guys have been awesome. So content around create food and the love of food and the appreciation for food is always going to be relevant. The point is, you don't know who's watching it, don't know who your content is going to be relevant. Two, the trick is, as a content creator, is to become visible to the people that you want to be relevant to. So the question is, Jermaine, not just as an investor, because even as an investor or somebody who's doing investments, visibility is important. So how do you become visible to the right people and get to a point where you're relevant enough to them where they want to consume your content and then turn around, want to come on your show and give you money? Triple factor.
So it starts with, say, reason for creating content. What you
Right.
need to understand is that that content is ideal for a specific group of people.
Right.
What you're hoping is that those specific set of persons are willing to pay
Right.
for whatever you're providing. Now, it doesn't mean that everybody needs to be within that niche, because some persons help to maintain the audience. And what I
Mhm.
mean by that is, there are persons who may watch your content for 10 years and never spend $1 with you.
Right.
And that's fine, because the larger your platform, the larger your brand, the more money that you can command in terms of partnerships, sponsorships, etc.
And those persons are usually the persons who end up recommending you. The ones
Exactly.
that just sit and watch and don't say nothing, they're the ones who go into rooms and
Because
bring you into rooms
because
with them.
the
Yeah.
first time somebody says, I want to travel to so and so, what should I do? Check out.
Some, yeah, Happy Start or
I
something.
know this girl, you know, she's always doing travel
Exactly.
videos.
Right. So you first, I think, create something of value to multiple groups of persons while understanding who you're trying to reach.
Right.
So for me, it was clear who we were serving. So we were serving persons who want to learn how to invest.
Mhm.
We're serving those who want to provide a service to those who want to invest.
Mhm.
And it all ties into now surrounding the company that we're investing in.
Right.
So I just identified 3 audiences that Learn, Grow, Invest has, and there's more, right?
Mhm.
But it showed us a way to say, okay, all right, the thing that ties it all together is the persons who are interested in investing. So we have to create value for them first. So if we create a community, because it wasn't just videos we wanted a place where persons will feel comfortable learning how to invest, talking about investing. It shouldn't be something that's hard to understand. So we built our community first. So for the first 2 years, we spoke nothing about monetization, nothing about any paid services or anything like that. You just came to our channel to learn how to invest. Two years later, we were now positioned to be able to say, well, we have this platform that persons have been coming to learn how to invest. I think our video on investing for beginners just got to, I think it's close to 21,000 views right now, right? And we did that video last August, and it was just the same question we're answering over and over again. How do I get started investing? So I said, well, let me put the things that I would say over and over again in one video. You watch that video, and then now you're ready to start investing. But then you may want help in terms of now, maybe you want one-on-one coaching. Maybe you want to learn in a group where we're teaching a bunch of persons how to do this now in a practical way, because it helps you to at least get the basic knowledge to be able to function. So that's value for you, watching that video and being able to start. So then we started to say, well, we can provide you now with more value through that. Then we looked at the companies who had services and products to help those who wanted to invest. Those are companies that you see them all the time advertising products and services that the average person don't understand. So we serve as a bridge between now the investor and the company to say, well, let us interpret the language coming from that company to the investor. And now since we have a community, it's an easy delivery for them. And then finally, the company, which is the Dollar Financial Services that you mentioned, that company, and if you think about companies and brands, the reason why they would want you to do and manage social media for them is that most companies struggle with awareness, and awareness specifically for those who would be interested in their product. And I say this all the time where companies don't really value digital because they don't understand it.
Mhm.
So they are willing to pay for an in-person event that maybe reaches maybe 50 to 100 people versus an online event that can reach exactly. And what we have is a concentration of investors.
Mhm.
So Dollar Financial is a publicly listed company. What they want to be able to do is maintain a good relationship with their investors.
Mhm.
The best place to do that is Learn, Grow, Invest.
Right.
Right. So that's pretty much what we've done.
And guys, so understand that what Jermaine just said is you create a community, you become the head of that community, or you're in a position where you have influence over that community, and then you leverage that community to the brands and the people who want to be in front of those people, right? And that's the same thing Tiana would have done, and that's the same thing Sumoya would have done. So when you build a brand and you build a community around that brand, you can then leverage the attention of the people in your community, and you can say to other brands, you can pay me to get in front of these people. So that's another stream of income you're creating right there. And the way this works is it's not just, oh, I have a community, but the community, there has to be some goodwill between you and the community, right?
Yep.
You value exchange between you and the community.
People don't want to be sold to.
Right.
So it has to be natural, and it was mentioned before
Yeah.
where the brand is not even interested in you saying do business with us.
Right.
They just want to be visible.
Visible to the people that you have the influence over. And so this is kind of how it works in a certain way. I know that if I go out as Learn, Grow, Invest, as Happy Start, as Wanga Girl, and say certain things, there are a certain group of people who are going to listen and who may want to participate in that thing. And so as a brand coming in to talk to Tiana to say, hey, Tiana, do a video for us, or hey, Samoya, here's some key rings. What they're really doing is positioning themselves. You through this channel, they're using you as a medium to position themselves in front of the people that they want to get into, which is people whose ears and minds you already have influence over. And that's another way of making money. And that's kind of how it works in 2022, right? Because these are all small businesses. They're brands, personal brands, but they're still small businesses making money through your own steam, your own efforts, etc. It's just that they're working smarter in 2022 and then harder. We call that inbound marketing, right? So they're coming to you, they see you out there, they see you doing anything, and they're coming looking for you to help them get themselves in front of certain people so they can also make money.
So I'll just say, because I was saying before, how do you get to that point
Yeah.
as a creator of making money?
Yeah,
It starts with networking.
for sure.
Because what persons don't understand, and for us in Jamaica, we haven't fully embraced certain aspects of digital yet. So a lot
Yeah.
of things for us still has to be not necessarily in person, but maybe it's a phone call.
Mhm.
Maybe it's an email until you get to that point where persons are emailing and calling you. So you lay the foundation first, and then you'll get to that point where persons will seek you out because of what you can do.
Okay. So question, and we're gonna wrap up now, guys, because I know it's been a long day. So question, and this goes out to anybody in the panel, and we're talking about generational wealth. So you are doing something that is unconventional. This is not something that you go study for become a travel influencer, study for be a podcaster, right? So this is something that's unconventional. What has the reception been like? Because you go get your big degree in maths and excitement. So what was the reception like when you went home and go, Mom, guess what? I'm now a content creator. When you said, this is how I make a living now, and this is what it's gonna be. What has the reception been like for you?
All right. So for me, because it didn't happen abruptly, it was
Mhm.
like a gradual overtime thing.
Yeah.
So when I started traveling, everybody was excited. People excited for travel. They must say, "Oh yeah, go here, son, here, so."
Yeah.
But then when I start, right? So nobody was thinking, "Oh, so yeah, make money and stop and So when I started monetizing it now and I needed help because my siblings work with me now, all I did was I just call my sister and be like, listen, people want me help now, quit your job and help me.
Oh wow. She upgrade her sister.
Yeah, so that's basically what happened. So then my mom knows what's happening. So she's like, okay, each one help one. So it wasn't like something abrupt where everybody just say, so we go do for money now, you quit your job. It was more of a gradual thing where I started traveling and then I just slowly just never stopped traveling. So they just got used to the idea that I was never here
Mhm.
and I was always traveling. So it wasn't, it's like they were groomed into getting used to me being on the road.
What about you, Tiana? What was the reception?
Well, I will say it was not an easy road like that. I was definitely, I mean, you called me a nerd earlier. It's true.
Nerds
I,
unite.
I was definitely one of those, even from high school. My mom definitely saw me as a doctor. That was, I
Her
was supposed
vision.
to be Dr. Tiana Chong.
Right.
Did yes. And yeah, I knew from very early on that that wasn't the path for me. My mother was a marketing man. She was a marketer my entire life growing up. I always say I was like a marketing kid. Like every weekend, I was at the expos handing out
Right.
flyers. And so I knew that life, and I think at one point I had said to her like, I really like marketing. Maybe this could be. And she was like, no, you're not doing that, because in her mind, and of course she was into traditional marketing, right? I mean, back in that time, the only way you could do marketing was to work at a company and to work for someone else. And for her, she was like, I want you to work for yourself. And in her mind, the easiest way to do that lucratively was by being a doctor. Of course, how many years later, that is not where I ended up. And it was definitely a bumpy journey between my mother and I. My father was just like, as long as y'all make money.
Anything else?
But my mom, I think she just had this like idea, this vision for me, and I wasn't going in that direction. And so it was very, very bumpy. There were periods of us not speaking, and yeah, it was very, very rough. But the one thing that I was very hell bent on was I'm going to go to college abroad. And so I think once she saw me do that and I graduated from college, even though I didn't know what I wanted to do with my degree, I think once she saw me do that and once she got the idea like, Tiana is going to do whatever the hell she wants to do. Doesn't matter what I say, because I've gone through periods where I'm not talking to this child and she don't care. She's just doing what she wants to do. So I think that's kind of what made her realize like, okay, this girl is independent enough to figure it out. And I made the decision to come back to Jamaica by myself. And once, honestly, I don't even think, my father definitely does not know what I'm doing. He just sees food coming in and out of the house. And he's like, me can't eat this yet. Oh, you have to take picture first. All right. Tell me when you take the picture so me can't eat it. But my mother, I think she has a better idea of what I do, but we've never really fully sat down. I think it's more of she sees the life that I'm able to afford for myself and afford for my father as well. And I think through that, she's like, okay, this makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't need to really question what's happening here because she's not a bum. So yeah, that was my journey with that.
And for Jermaine, know that Tiana and Samoya moved into a place where they're earning this kind of money, as we said before. Tiana, she's also another jet setter traveling all over the place, but she's able to maintain herself and her family, etc. Just to close up, how can these two ladies then, suppose Tiana decide that she's going to want to turn Wanga Girl into an international brand, or Happy Start into an international brand that gets listed on the Junior Stock Exchange that people can now invest money in? How do they get to that point?
Well,
I know a lot has happened before there, but then
yeah,
the truncated version of that.
So we're talking about how they can get to the point of
They become an investable brand themselves. Yeah.
Okay. So I would say the only step I'd focus on before you get there is to understand. To me, it's a business when you can pay not just yourself but a whole team. Now the size of the team varies. It doesn't need to be like 100 people in 10 different locations
Yeah.
to be a business. But the very first thing you need to be able to do is pay yourself consistently. Most
Yeah.
entrepreneurs starting out not being able to pay themselves. So if you can't pay yourself and provide the basic benefits that you would expect a business to pay you, if you work for somebody, you want the basics. If you can't do the basics, then you still have some ways to go. What happens though, in terms of them becoming investable, it's really now about the value that they're able to create for themselves and others. So really, you can list a company at any time, meaning you could actually list both brands now as startups once you have a roadmap to say, well, this is how we're going to generate revenue, this is how we're going to grow the business, etc. Because what an investor is looking for is growth on their investment.
Right.
The way that we make money from our investment is if they make money and show their ability to keep making money. So if it is that you have a plan to go from 10 million in revenue to 50 million to 200 million over 5 years, that is something to invest in right now.
Yeah.
There are persons who have asked me if I'm willing to take investment, and I don't think we've gotten to anywhere yet.
Right.
But they see a path where we can become a lot more than we are now. So really, there is value in your brand if it is that you have the ability to execute, right? There are, to me, no necessarily new ideas. It's just really different ways of executing the same idea. I can share my business ideas openly because I'm confident that you can't execute it the way I do it. So there are many other communities that speak about investing. There are many other persons who do what we do in terms of coaching, but there's only one Learn, Grow, Invest. So that brand, that business has value because of the value it creates for itself and for others, right? So when you do that now, the short version is somebody is going to work with you. So let's say that you get an advisor or an advisory company. You sit with them and chart out a plan for your business. So as I said, you're doing, let's say, 20,000 US in revenues. But if we sign these partnerships, we do these services, we expand to these countries, then we can do 100,000, 150, 200,000 in 5 years. The company will say, well, okay, for you to be able to attract investment, we'll do a value of your company right now, your brand right now. So even though you generate 20,000, your brand, the Happy Start brand, may be valued at $100,000 right now because of the potential to generate revenues. So that value now can be brought into what we call shares. So we can say it's valued at 100,000. We can issue 100,000 shares representing $1 each, and you can be 100% shareholder of your company right now. In 2 years' time, we can chart a path to go to the stock exchange. When we get to the stock exchange, there are rules. I won't bore you with the rules right now, but let's say that out of that 100,000 shares, you have to make 20% available to the public. That's what we call an IPO. So you can make now available 20,000 shares for us all as investors to apply. Because it's only 20,000 shares, we may put 50,000 in applications, and that's when it becomes oversubscribed. So you hear that term a lot.
Yeah.
It just means that more money went after it than what it was valued at, right? So what that does now, let's say that we list those 20,000 shares and it's worth $1 each. And then now the persons in the market trade those shares at $5 because we are very bullish on the future of the company. What happens to the value of her 80,000 shares? That's now worth 400,000. So the market has priced the value of those shares and it has increased her wealth.
Right.
5 times.
Yeah.
So you see, you have not done anything, but your net worth has increased because it's now a listed company. So
Right.
there are a lot of billionaires on the Jamaica Stock Exchange as CEOs because of the structure of their company.
That's awesome. So that is how we can go from just being, a simple content creator who has a passion or interest in something, turning that into action, because you all have to act on that passion, turn that into action, turn that action into money. And now Jeremy is telling us that with the 1 + 2 = 3, end up on stock exchange, and all of a sudden then we're billionaires. Sounds amazing. But to close off, guys, I want you all to just give your best advice in terms of exploring a career path that may be different, that may be unconventional, and the kind of advice that you would give young people who are interested in, them don't want to be Dr. Tiana Chong, they don't necessarily want to be a policeman, fireman, chief, they want to do something different and exciting, what would be the advice you give them in terms of getting started and making money from that?
You have to be patient, one. You have to be consistent. And you have to explore all the options that are available to you. So you might not want to be a doctor, but you're really good at the sciences. So get the degree. Because you never know what you'll be able to do with it afterwards. Because sometimes degrees are just there to help us in the future. They're not necessarily to say, this is the career path you're going into.
Yeah.
Because I've heard a lot of people say the degree is just to show us that you can learn.
Right.
It's not to say this is what you're qualified to do.
Yeah.
So be patient. So if you want to do something, it not go happen overnight. And if you decide to do content creation, the views not gonna come overnight, subscribers not gonna come overnight. The people will love you not gonna come overnight. You have to be patient with your audience. People ask a lot of stupid questions, and I put that in air quotes because there's no stupid questions, but questions that may annoy you, so you consider it stupid. So you have to be patient with people. You have to be patient with your work process. You have to be patient with the results.
Right.
You have to be consistent, because what happens is when we do something we do it for this week, and we say, but may I do it for a week? No, nothing happen. Sometimes the consistency might have to go on for 3 months. Sometimes it have to go on for a year. For everybody, it's different. So you can't use what your friend results is to compare your results. You just
Right.
have to be consistent in your time. And then you have to find what works for you. Because consistency for me is waking up every morning at 6 a.m. Consistency for you is waking up every Sunday morning. Consistency for somebody else is posting every Friday night. And that is still consistency because it happens the same time every time. So you have to be consistent. And last but not least, you have to explore all of the options that are available to you. You can't be blindsided by this is what I want to do with horse focus, and you're not open to any other option that is available, because sometimes just that little pivot might bring you on something else that you never know you'd have woke up on.
All right. So explore, be flexible. What else did she say? She
Patience.
said be patient and be consistent and keep your eye on your own business. Stay in your own lane and stop watch what other people doing. All right then, Tiana.
Yeah, I guess kind of coming off of that, my biggest piece of advice would be to your timeline is your timeline. And it's no one else's timeline. Especially, I think, as young people, when you're coming out of high school, going into university, and then venturing into the job world, or going back to school. I think a lot of times, the way how Jamaican society works, we're very competitive. We're naturally a competitive set of people. And so I think if you get caught up in watching what other people are doing, you will very quickly lose sight of what you are doing. And this is something I learned because after high school, I took a gap year. So I took a year off. Then I went abroad. My degree was 4 years. The UA degree is 3 years. So I felt like for a long time, I was like lagging behind everyone who I graduated high school with. And it took me a while to realize like that's their journey and I have my own journey. I had friends who were graduating at the same time as me who were doctors and lawyers, and I was still just Tiana Chong. But now I've realized, and of course, hindsight is always 2020, right? I now realize that all of killing up myself, it was for nothing. It was for naught. You know, it was a waste of energy. And it's simply just because I was comparing my timeline to theirs. And yeah, I think through that, one other tiny, quick piece of advice that I carry with me as well is always don't be afraid to ask, because it's better you ask and get a yes. Or no, sorry, it's better you ask and get a no than you didn't ask and could have gotten a yes.
Yes. Okay.
So yeah, those are my two tidbits.
Yeah. So if you like me, you're a late bloomer. You felt you should have started before. You should have been further ahead in your career than you are now. Don't compare yourself to other people, because as Tiana says, you're on your own time, and everybody is on their own time. Just persevere and continue pushing forward and doing what you do, and stop watch what other people do. Right? Them say, what's that? Mind your own business. All right, then, Jermaine.
So I'll just say, well, two things. The first one, there are times when we want to do something, like we're called to do something, and we put ourselves in a box as to how that thing should be done.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that is, when I was younger, I wanted to be a teacher. But when I thought about it, I was like, teachers don't make money. So why would I want to teach? And I ran away from teaching. But teaching is not always in a classroom.
True, right?
And I think that's what we need to understand. So you mentioned earlier those, like, policeman, doctor, etc. Those careers can still exist for you, just not in the form that you think it does.
Right.
So I teach right now. It's actually the best part of what I do as Learn, Grow, Invest. I'm teaching people how to invest. No, 20 years ago, I would not have thought that I would be teaching in this way, but it's still teaching. And so I'll just encourage persons not to run away from your calling or purpose because you don't necessarily like how it's packaged right now. It could become something else in the future, right? So that's the first thing that I'll say. The next part is that you have to find a way to think long term. So you are investing in your life. So you have to be able to make moves that will add up and pay dividends for you 5 years from now, 10 years from now.
Yeah.
So everything for me is strategic.
Yeah. You have
So
to be strategic like Bush.
I'm not going to waste my time and do something if I don't see an opportunity for that to serve either my personal brand or my wanting to give back, which is also something that can serve a purpose as well. But it has to be something that I will look back and say, well, I'm happy that I did that.
Right.
Right. So think long term, and sometimes you really have to do things. I know Crystal was talking about it earlier, and I think that the point she was making is you can start with $5 and get to $150,000.
Yeah.
The point is sometimes you may have to do something so for me, I will trade income right now for something that's invaluable or priceless. And that for me will always be my brand. So we actually, somebody said to us when we were starting Learn, Grow, Invest, why didn't we use our individual names? Like why wasn't it Jermaine McDonald? And I said, I want to build something that would outlive me. So that's why it was a brand and not a person, because now if Jermaine McDonald does something, then no, that tarnishes my brand.
Yeah.
But if the brand is Learn, Grow, Invest, and we manage the image of Learn, Grow, Invest, then Learn, Grow, Invest can stand on its own. So even if I say, well, my wife now hearing all of this travel talk wants to travel, Learn, Grow, Invest can still continue because it's a brand on its own.
On its own, right.
I was about to add, it's the same thing for me, because people asking why I never just use my name, since people know me from social media. But I'm saying, like, when you contact Happy Start, if they find out that they're talking to my sister, them don't want to talk to her no more.
Right.
And me, them want to talk to. But the fact that they're messaging the brand,
brand,
Happy
yeah.
Start, whoever assists them, it don't matter.
Yeah.
So I was able to do that, and that is like that was perfect.
Yeah.
Because when I was thinking about that, I'm like, so what if me not available? That means no business not gonna go on.
No, exactly. And of course, Tiana has Wanga Gal. So even if it's a personal brand, you develop the brand in such a way where it exists outside of yourself. It's a brand in and of its own, with its own character and personality, etc., that you can market separate and apart from yourself. So all of you here are kind of personal brands because you're the face of your brands, but the brands exist by themselves. They're earning by themselves, of course, through your efforts, but they're independent brands, right? All right. Thank you guys so very much. Can we give them a round of applause? Thank you guys so much for coming in and talking to us. So the takeaway for me here is that in 5 years' time, I can do some things and then dividend and then multiply by something, and then I'm on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. So in 5 years' time, you'll see me, Jeremy. We'll talk about that off the air. But also is that you should stay in your own lane. You should always be consistent. You should watch your own time. Don't rush yourself. Give yourself enough time. And if it is that you're choosing to do a career that's not conventional, you have to understand all the things that come along with that, but it doesn't mean it's any less valuable than anything else. So we appreciate our panelists for coming up and teaching us those lessons. And I'm going to hand back over to our host, Dakota. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Kadia. Thank you to my panelists, Jermaine McDonald, Tiana Chung, and Samoya Mattis. I am going to give the opportunity to the persons online to win something, because we can't just be giving everybody inside something. We have to give the people them online that has been here with us, that stick and stayed. So Kerry, over to you.
And of course, because it's online and we left you guys for last, I'm going to make the questions so easy. So as we wrap up, not to rush, right? We had 3 awesome panelists, and I like one of them. You know, she and I, we have something in common. Wanga girl, I like you because me love food. But anyhow, like it's interesting that, like the other panelists that were here, they didn't start out in, or should I say, what they're doing now is far from what they started in. But the interesting thing, someone from online, and I'm not sure who's going to help me, but what is it that Tiana actually studied, and who should Tiana be today, 2022? So I don't know how you guys are going to help me with the online, but my moderator can let me know if somebody got the answer. What is it that Tiana studied, and what was supposed to be her career today in 2022? The next one. I'm sorry, Kayla can't be a part of it. Someone got it? Go, Shamar. Woo! Shamar, you got it. All right, and then interestingly, content creator, Mr. Jermaine. He started out pretty cool, almost in the same field. What is it that he was doing before creating content? He worked at this very, very popular, well-known place that all of us use on a day-to-day basis. What is it? Online? Is there another Shamar online? Anybody else? Kayla look like she's logging on to the YouTube to answer. You're hilarious. But in the meantime, I really have about just I'm going to go with Jermaine again, just for now. Jermaine mentioned something which makes sense. It applies to everybody here in front of me and online. He said that we are supposed to. I don't want to give away the answer. No, hold on. So he said that you need to do something to your skill in order to make money from it. Online, guys, online. We're streaming on Facebook and YouTube. All right, so anybody online? Any other answers online? Wow. And ding, ding, ding. That is indeed correct. So I might just give this one to Kayla because she seems to be eager to answer. What is it that you must capitalize on? What? So Mr. Jervin mentioned that you need to capitalize on something to make money. What is it that you need to capitalize on? You get it the first time and it was actually skill. He said you need to capitalize on your skill, right? And there's this lady. I don't know when she might think I'm leaving her out for last, but her product, her unconventional income is traveling. Miss Mattis, she used a number of stuff, and one of them is a type of marketing that online. We're going with online people. So, is it anybody else on online? So Miss Mattis, actually, I like her product. She travels and all, but she used a type of marketing where persons actually pay her to do this, and she to refer persons. What is it called? Is Shamar, are you there? Because it seems as if. Well, he was definitely paying attention, so that's correct. She did mention that she used affiliate marketing. So, guys, thank you so much for participating online and right here in person. And of course, you have to come to claim your prize. It's here, okay? Well, we're not sure if you really know who Shamar is, but Shamar, come to UCC to claim your prize, okay? Well, thank you so much, guys, and we'll see you next year.
Thank you so much, Kerry. Before we allow you to leave for the evening, I'm going to ask Miss Thorpe to come and do the vote of thanks for me. But before she comes, I want to say a special thank you to Max Life Production House for capturing this beautiful workshop. Cause me know so we're gone near and far and near and Miss Thorpe.
Hello, everyone. So, on behalf of the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean, I would like to give a hearty thanks to Ryan Rage Riley, Gavin Dennis, Olivia Lindsay, Tiana Chung, Jermaine McDonald, and Samoya Mattis. Thank you for being here and taking the time out to provide us with valuable information, such as the value of having a good network, garnering the necessary skills to balance finances and other areas of our lives. You are such beautiful souls, all of you, and we appreciate you. And we appreciate you giving back to the economy by investing in our human capital and also enlightening us about some of the skills we need going forward. And to our viewers, thanks for being attentive and positive. I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you so much.